Good morning, traders. Welcome back, of course, to Trade the Pool. Ready to get this day started, ready to look to see what happens. Of course, we're leading to the big day, which will be Wednesday after hours as NVIDIA reports. But I think today can be one of those days that we just might get a run into the report. Let's find out, right? Like always, we'll take a look at the playbook. Take a look at the sunrise report, see what's moving out there and why it's moving, of course, the most important part. And then, of course, get to our live trading action. I got Mustafa in the back. He'll be joining me. We'll talk a little bit about some trading psychology today, also about building complete systems. Find out today, guys. Let's get to the action. You guys know where you're at. It's Trade the Pool. Let's kick it off with today's playbook. First up, team, let's talk a little bit about UPS. And yes, I'll tell you right now, I don't trade UPS often, but I'm starting to see a little pattern here that's interesting me. And I think that that's the important part, is not trying to be, too subjective towards different stocks, but more objective, right? Just trying to see the patterns and trying to get after it. So in this case, you see UPS, right? You can clearly see how we kind of have this inverse head and shoulders pattern right here. So the left shoulder being right here, the head, and the right shoulder. Now we need to take a look to see if it goes to the neckline. The neckline is going to be actually kind of a vertical neckline. Normally, I would draw this a little bit down towards right above the 130s, but I'm going to give it the room towards the 133. The 132, the 133 area is where it really starts to get through that resistance, where it got that down gap. And then now you start to fill the gap. This is an interesting play for me because you have an inverse head and shoulders pattern with a gap fill to look at, right? The combination of the two is actually a play. So I'll be watching to see what happens here in UPS. And of course, what is this in? This is in the industrial space. I've been looking for more and more stocks in the industrial space to stay hot. So FDX, I just watch this keep up there, right? Stay up there at 300. I can't trade this up at 300 there, and that's why I didn't pick FDX, but I will definitely watch it to watch if UPS can also stay strong. Filling that gap could be a nice gap fill from 133 all the way up there towards 144. We'll see what happens on UPS. Let's get to the second one here. Let's go to AMD and SAUND, as I'll be watching to see what happens in the tech space today. Of course, AMD has been riding back up, and I do think that in the long run, AMD gets back to 130. But for the short term being, I can see it holding the 9 EMA, the 200 EMA, and the 50 all being around the same spot. So that tells me more and more how all the traders have been fooled on this, probably, as it's been chomping up and down, below, above the trend lines, right? And those are the moving averages. That's what I meant. But now I think we're getting this pullback towards the 9 EMA, and we could make a run right back towards 158, 157. It could eventually go to 162 if it was a complete breakout. And on a day like today, I'm looking to see what happens in SAUND, as I'm seeing it right now decline. And I think that that's actually a good sign there. It's giving us potential, right? You guys can clearly see it here. We've gone back towards this 37 multiple times. I think more than 5 or 6 hits on this 37. So I'm going to look for an undercut through that 37 and then a rise back towards 38 today. We'll see what happens. A big part of this will be NVIDIA, right? Will it just fall off the wagon here today, or will it get another move up? If you can see the 9 EMA very close, very similar setup to AMD. I'd look to see if the 9 EMA can hold here, a pullback to 124.47, and then the move back to 130. We'll see what happens there in NVIDIA. Let's get to the third playbook here as we take a look at SQM. SQM, of course, is a lithium player, and this is more of a swing trade, longer term outlook, as I'm looking at this stock as a stock that has been beaten down for more than 2 years. Yes, it's surprising to me that SQM has been beaten down like this. I mean, at one point, SQM was up there to 115. And that was back then, right? That we're talking in kind of the June 22. And it's been down about 66% in 2.2 years. At this point, I'm starting to look at these charts because I think in the long run, right, if we're going to get these big EV runs and EVs are going to take over and all the auto manufacturers are not going to create gas-powered vehicles anymore, but just electrical vehicles, at some point, this lithium play might be one of the best investments in even my lifetime. And I know that might sound like I'm blowing it out of proportion, but the truth is there's a lot of opportunity here. A lot of the lithium plays are destroyed. Now the question is, where do you pick them up off the floor? So to me, I look at monthly charts for that outlook. And on the monthly charts, I can clearly see that we're starting to get back into areas that we could find some support. So if you draw a trend line here, and you can see how that trend line's held multiple times, and the stock has done a move like that where it's pulled back, caught some buyers, and gone right back to the upside. So I'll be watching for a very similar move. That's down there towards the 30s and 32 area. So that's the area that I'm looking to hold, 32s and 30s. That's for entries, and looking for the move back through 60. We'll see what happens when this actually does turn. I think this is one that you would have to hold long term, but if you can get it back above this trend line, you won't be looking too bad in SQM. All right, we'll see what else is out there, guys. And of course, there's other lithium plays you can watch for. A really cheap one that I might just take a long-term approach is LAC. I mean, it's $2.77. I can only lose that $2.77. So I'll think about it. And I think there's a lot of these lithium plays that we'll eventually look back at and be like, man, that was a great opportunity. All right, that's going to be it for us on the playbook on today. Like always, guys, stay tuned to find out more on the playbook. And if you guys ever have a play that you guys want to include on the playbook, just tag us at Trade the Pool, right there on Twitter. Guys, you guys tuning in right now, if you guys have a play, a chart you guys want to bring to the playbook, all you got to do is tag us, and I'll make sure to add it to the playbook, and we can talk all about it. Let's go now to the Sunrise Report as we take a look at, of course, what stocks are moving and why they're moving. Later in the week, though, we do need to be watching out to see what happens with Thursday's economic data, as we'll get the jobs data to come in on Thursday. And then on Friday is the big day. PCE also will be coming in on the economic data side. But let's kick off the Sunrise Report and see what the sun is bringing today. All right, team, let's kick it off with a little of Eli Lilly, as they've launched now what is an affordable outlook for the weight loss drugs. So here's something that, of course, could stir up the market. Eli Lilly has rolled out a more affordable version of its weight loss drug, Zepbound, priced at $399 and $549 per month. I mean, when you think about it, that's a Porsche, man. But I mean, hey, to each his own, man. If that's what you're looking at, weight loss for $500 and $49 a month, I think that's pretty steep. But hey, to each his own. I really don't understand this weight loss situation. But hey, maybe that's just me, because I'm just a skinny twig. But now on the surface, this looks like a good move, right? It's designed to help patients without insurances and expand U.S. supply as demand rises. But here's where it gets interesting, is this drug is really making the drug more accessible, right? Bringing down that price. It's making it cheaper, right? And also countering the copycat versions that are out there that are popping up. I hear it all the time. I hear it even on the radio. Hey, well, do you want to take Zepbound and you want to take these drugs, right? Well, we have a cheaper version, right? We have a generic version. Well, this is what this is all about. This is Eli Lilly competing against that cheaper copycat versions. So the competition is heating up, and Eli Lilly is making some bold moves here. So what do you guys think? Will this pay off, or will they be walking a fine line here, trying to bring down the price and actually making it a negative towards their company? We'll have to wait and find out. Let's get to the second report here as we keep things going here. Let's go to the now Apple, as they are transitioning here, a little bit of a leadership change. Let's talk some Apple. Shares dipping a bit after hours after the news of CFO Luca Maestri is stepping down on January 1st for Kevin Parak. And Apple's VP of Financing, Planning, and Analysis is stepping into the CFO role. Of course, the CFO was looked upon positively as he did, of course, take things for the margins to go from like 34 to 45%. So shout out to the CFO that actually did his job, right? And now he's seeing the door out. Is that a negative or a positive? You guys can think about it. But he is going to stick around to focus more on IT and security and real estate development. So maybe that's something that could be a positive. Like he's not completely leaving. He's just leaving that role. But of course, the $1 million question is this a smooth handoff? Could there be some bumps in the road? And did he see maybe some bumps in the road coming, right? Will he keep the ship steady, right, Parag, as he go ahead and takes the CFO road, or could things shake up as more than we expected here? Of course, Apple's going to be battling more and more as it keeps growing. Can it keep up with the iPhone? Can the services keep growing? And can the margins stay high the way it's been doing it? Let's get to the third report here as we kick into some Canada talk. Oh, Canada. Canada is battling against the EV as the global EV market tensions continue. The global EV market is getting a bit tense. Canada just slapped 100% tariff on Chinese electric vehicle imports, along with a 25% import on China steel and aluminum. This, of course, aligning with what the US and the EU are doing. It's clear that Canada is positioning itself as a big player in the global EV supply chain. But here's where things get a little bit dicey, right? Could these tariffs backfire? Sure. It's all about, though, boosting local industries. But could it also make EVs more expensive for consumers and slow down the adoption of clean energy? Well, yes, and that's what we need to be looking at. Are we on the brink of a full-blown trade war as we continue to see battles in the global EV market? And something just to mention, I mean, it was interesting because a lot of these, right, were these China-made kind of EVs, but then the EU also hit Tesla and then took the step back on Tesla. So it seems like they're just going after the China EV names. Some could say this is fair. Some could say it's not. The truth is that there's going to be a lot of tariffs on these China EVs, and they're going to struggle because of it. Let's go to the fourth one here. This is one that's interesting, of course, as we've been kind of trading this name, and it's been hot as of late, as JD.com announces a big buyback. And so now, of course, over to JD.com as shares are ticking higher after they announced a $5 billion repurchase program. This is a pretty massive buyback, right? It's getting investors talking, but let's dig a little deeper, right? Will this show confidence of the company in the future after just recently Walmart kind of getting out of JD.com? And maybe this is a good sign that JD is willing to go ahead and do a buyback program, right? Or could this be just a sign that China is coming right back down, of course, as China has just been getting off the floor? And of course, mentions like this are going to give it a little bit of boost, but can it stay higher? Of course, we know how the EV space is doing in China. It ain't looking good there. We'll keep a close eye on BABA and JD.com that have been hot as late and definitely showing up in the catalyst. Let's go to the next one here as we keep things going. We'll go to Trip.com as Trip announcing mixed results here, but it's a travel stock that actually beat here, right? Trip.com posted mixed Q2 results, adjusted earnings per share at $1, beating the estimate, but sales came in shy of expectations at $1.76 billion. So is this a win or a warning sign? I think that's what we need to be asking ourselves. On one hand, the earnings are up, but on the other, the sales missing might suggest some underlying challenges. Can Trip.com keep up with the growth momentum, or should we be worried about what's next? The broader travel and tourism industry will be watching closely as we've been looking to see signs of recession, right? Signs of concern in the consumer. Plenty of companies have already given out that warning, and now we need to be asking ourselves, did Trip.com just beat on EPS and that's why it's higher? Or are they telling us something that their sales missed? Let's get to the last one here as we talk a little bit about some analyst notes. So let's talk a little bit about what I see out there right now. There's a few interesting notes here. So Hershey's, of course, is getting an actual downgrade. So Citigroup downgrading Hershey's to sell. And I think this is really interesting as you're getting closer towards what time? You're getting closer towards the best candy month in the year, which is October, right? If anything, I'd be looking at these as buys. For it to be downgraded to sell is not a good outlook here. They're dropping their price target to 182. So is Hershey's losing its sweetness? We'll have to find out, guys. Let's get to the last two here on the analyst notes. An interesting one here with Cinemark Holdings as CNK, right? B. Riley Security downgrading Cinemark to neutral with a 31 price target. So of course, we have been seeing a lot of kind of numbers going back to the Cinemark and to the movie theaters, right? A lot of kind of summer blockbusters did pretty well, but here you guys see it downgrading to neutral, just not getting the love that they need. I did see AMC pop a little bit yesterday. Nothing that I think we need to even looking at. If anything, these are just slow leaks, but we'll see what happens. Last one is an interesting one. Coterra Energy, CTRA, as Roth coming in here and upgrading Coterra to a buy and boosting its price target to 29. Of course, we've been seeing energy stocks making a big move. Now, the only question is this the time to bet on energy? We'll see what happens. Coterra Energy, CTRA. Not a stock that I trade often, but something I'll be even watching today. All right, that's about wraps up the, of course, Sunrise Report. If you guys haven't checked out the Sunrise Report, of course, don't forget, we put this out on Twitter every single day. The markets are buzzing with drama, and anybody's guess about what's going to happen next, of course, will be all eyes open to see what happens in NVIDIA. Tonight, there's some interesting reports. I mean, you'll get Sentinel-1, so stay tuned and keep your eyes peeled for that. We'll see what happens here. Now it's time to kick off into the live trading action. I'm ready to get right after the market. I've been doing really well the last couple of weeks and really trying to keep things going. The question is, how's your trading going? Let me know in the comments. Let's get to the live trading side of the show. And then, of course, we got Mustafa ready to go. Let's kick things off. You guys know where we're at. It's Trade the Pool. Let's get it started. Wants 200, baby. You ready to get back to the trading action?
You aim, you shoot, and make money.
It's going to be a great day. You guys know where you're at. What's going on, my team? Who's ready to get after it? You know where you're at. It's Trade the Pool. Excited to have another day with you guys and excited to bring on my man today. You guys know him, getting after it every single day in the chat, sticking to those golden rules. Mustafa in the house. Let's go. What's going on? How we doing, man?
Doing great, man. How are you doing?
Hey, got to get it started. Got to get that energy going. Got to get ready for the market like always. You got to feel it. Got to feel it in the morning, man.
Exactly, man. I love the energy.
Yeah, man. I love it, man. I actually I watched a recent movie, Twisters. I don't know if you heard about it. The kind of the remake, and part of it is if you can feel it, you can ride it. That's what they say about the tornadoes. That's the same way I feel about the market, baby. If you can feel the market, go trade it, man. Let's get after it. You guys know where we're at. It's all about the stock and roll, baby. It's Trade the Pool, man. Ready to get after it today. And I've been doing really well. And a big part of that is just kind of trying to stay simple, right? Trying to keep it simple every day, not trying to complicate things, and understanding one thing that I think is especially important. I think a lot of traders, sometimes we get in this mentality that we're just trying to like create a winning streak. The truth is, we don't need a winning streak to be in the green, right? And I think this is an important outlook, right? This is where I think a lot of traders get it wrong, right? They're all looking to just keep winning. And the truth is, there's no 100% winning in trading. Like if you actually trade, there's no such thing, man. And so I think this is really interesting. What do you think about this perspective, right? Because the truth is, the way that I'm looking at it, Mustafa, is that we almost have to be thinking about this, and that pretty much every 5 days, I almost expect 2 of those days to be red, right? 2 or 3 of those days to be red. So there's going to be point in times where at the day, like let's say maybe it's 10:30, right? Maybe it's 10:40 or something, and I'm down 100, $200. At some point, you got to accept that today is a red day. And I think that that's where a lot of traders go wrong, and they just start fighting because they're red. And they're not fighting because they've lost. They're fighting more just because they see red on their screen, right? And so they're just trying to get it back. Anything to get back to green. And that really quickly just creates a spiral effect.
Revenge trading.
You know it. And next thing you know, we're instead of down 200, we're down 600, 800, or even worse, a max loss day, right? Yeah. And I think that that's where a lot of traders they were doing well, they were working their system, they're climbing, and all of a sudden you see this on their equity wave. Boom, back down, right? And all that hard work that you just created just went to the trash. That's exactly what we're trying to avoid, right? So later today, I want to hear a little bit more about your system building, Mustafa, because I know that you've been working on things like this. And you got a couple of tips that you want to give the traders out there to keep building on their systems, right? And I know that you want to call this like the complete system building, right? Because the truth is that that's how we need to look at things, right? There's always holes in our system. Find those holes, plug those holes, and let's make them strengths, right? That's what I think is important. That's what I think most traders are not willing to do. Admit their weaknesses, fortify their strengths, and really complete the system. We'll talk a little bit about that during the show today. But Mustafa, let's take a look into the market. What are you looking out there? And of course, feel free to share your charts, my friend. I know you always got some charts. You're always taking a look into the market. Today, no penny stock trading for me in the morning. The only one I saw was an absolute monster. I think it was ADXN. Let me see. ADXN. Yeah, it was this monster. Take a look at this thing. This thing was just absolutely ripping this morning. It went from like 9 to 12, and I was watching it. It didn't look too bad here. It had like a kind of a cup and handle pattern at the very beginning. So I'll show you guys where it was looking like a cup and handle, because I always like scrolling back and taking a look at how the charts looked in the morning and how they kind of traded, because this can give you a little bit of a perspective, right? So here it was forming that cup. And then it went towards that 11, and then it looked like it's going to break out, right? Right there, you're like, oh, man, this thing's going to 12, 13, 15. It's just creating that kind of bullish pattern. And then now you would want to look for the pullback to the VWAP, and it went right to it, right to the key. And then a lot of times you want to draw where the support is or where you came out of. So this was the resistance, right? This kind of 10-20 area. And then look how you came back right towards that, trying to create support off of that, get those buyers to step back up, right? That's exactly what happened on this one in the morning, then really kind of gave that lift right back towards those highs. And that's what you're looking for, right back towards that trend high, selling majority of it there, and then you can go for a bigger rip, right? Then you got that bigger rip later towards 8 a.m., and they got all the way up there to 12.50 when you could have been buying up towards like 10.25s. So not a bad little move there. ADXN. I did not get after this one today, but I always like to cover a little bit of these because I've been doing more and more of these pre-market ones. And I can tell you right now, one of the things that I've learned is cut my sizing about to a tenth, and then just take the trades and look for the bigger move, right? I'm not worried if these start to break down. I'm trying to see these take the next roll. But let's go ahead. Let's take a look at what Mustafa is looking at today. What do you got out there? What kind of stocks are on your radar?
Well, I got on my watch list something new, because usually, my watch list, I have about like 15 stocks. And then what I tend to do is I tend to trade the same stocks over and over again. So it's kind of like part of the edge that I have built.
Yeah.
Once in a while, I add something new to the list, but usually, like I will trade a stock today, and then maybe the day after tomorrow, I might trade the same stock. So, like for example, Nvidia. Lately, I've been trading that name almost every day,
I love it.
and they're gonna report earnings. So,
Oh, it's on the radar
Nvidia,
for
man,
sure.
it was unbelievable. It was like, when we had that like market crash, seemed like a crash on that Monday. This stock went to 91 and in change, 91.87 levels.
Yeah.
You know,
No, it did. It
got
had
to 131.
one
So
of the things that you can see on the chart is there. Sometimes we have like blow off tops. This is the blow off bottom. You get what I mean? Like, so you see these candles all the time on the upside. Very rare do you see these candles on the downside. And why? Because a lot of times people say there's no such thing as a V bottom. That's a V bottom, man. That's if you either grab it at the bottom there or you don't, right? Like it doesn't come back to 91 the next day. It just starts going ahead, right? That's what I mean by V bottom, right? It went to a low and didn't go back and create a double low, right? That's what a lot of charts will do, is it'll create that at least two lows, and then it starts to come back and kind of slow, steady climb back. No, this is that rampant move right back, run over the short sellers, and just keep hitting that, right? So the short sellers start to get out on the offer, right? They're just like, I need to get out, I need to get out, I need to get out. Then the buying is up on the offer. And now the question is, can they take it through the high? Because I know that's what a lot of traders are going to be looking at now, right? They're looking to the left. They're seeing this 140, and they're wondering what's going to happen here. How do you feel about it right now? I know I talked about it, that I'm thinking about kind of positive outlook on a day like today. Why? Because I feel like it could do like a nice ramp up, get everyone a little bit excited going into Wednesday. And then I don't know about what happens Wednesday after hours. But the way that I'm feeling is that, you're going to have like this kind of swing back and forth. They're going to try to make it seem really bullish and really bearish. And then the earnings report's going to come in. So right now I'm kind of betting more to the upside. How do you see NVIDIA's chart?
Well, the thing is, as soon as the earnings comes out on Wednesday, this stock is going to move 10% plus in either direction.
Like
so depending, at least I would say 10%. You're going to see a 10% plus move on this name. So if it's very like a blowout report, I don't think there's much room left for it to run. But if it's a surprising, like a really bad report, man, you're looking at like a 20%, 25% down on the stock. But the thing is, would you buy this now and hold through the earnings report? That's kind of like gambling to me.
No, it is. And the truth is that majority of the times when you're holding through earnings, it's scary. It is a scary move, man. The truth is that it's not for the faint of heart holding through earnings reports. And it's an easy way to get a bag, right?
On NVIDIA, the trend has left the station. So at this point in time, they're going to try to chase. And chasing is kind of not a good strategy.
Yeah, and that's why I feel like today could be the perfect day to make it look like a chase, right? You push through, let's say, a big bar on the daily, because I always like to think about things like more, not intraday, like what's it doing in between, right? But how would the daily candle look at the end of the day? Because that's so important, because the truth is, guess what? That's what everyone looks at in the morning, right? In the morning, they don't go and they look at how it traded in the intraday. A lot of times they look at the daily chart. So the daily chart is so important there. And then my outlook, it's right now on kind of a sideways consolidation, right? It's just in between this box.
Exactly. And I'm just waiting for the report.
Yep. Just waiting, just giving it the time to kind of decipher out, and it can go up and down below this, right? Anywhere in between this. So I'm looking to see if we can get a bullish engulfing candle above and out of this. Then it'll really be looking bullish, right? And then you'll have the bull is pretty much trapped as this is going up towards 140, and everyone thinks, okay, I have to hold here, because what if I wake up and NVIDIA is at 160, right? If I'm a bull, right? That's the way I think about it. And it's almost like you almost have to hold, because you'll feel really bad if you sell it there at 138 or 135, and then the next day it's at 168, right? So, but the truth is, and you know, Mustafa, that it could very much be at 135 and then just be right back down towards like 110. And then you're stuck in the middle and in the middle of the chart overall on the daily. So then the bulls or the bears aren't winning, because yeah, the short-term bears would be winning, but the longer-term bears on the daily chart would be stuck in the middle. They don't know if they need to go shorting it or longing it, and the longs get stuck. That's how you stuff both sides of the trade. And that's what a lot of times the market will do to you. It'll stuff the bulls and stuff the bears, right? So I think it's going to be fun watching that today. One that I'm watching is,
if you've been trading NVIDIA for a while now, if you're day trading this stock, my suggestion is that don't try to guess the earnings report. Like I said, there's not much left for the upside. But if you get it wrong, you think it's going to go to 160, and it's one bad report. This is going back to below 100, depending on how bad it is. But it's just a guessing.
No, it could be a disaster.
I would not trade this the day the report comes out, like the earnings date. I wouldn't trade that. Give it a couple of days, wait a couple of days, and then you can start trading again. You can always react to what happens.
I like trading them before the earnings, maybe even the earnings day. But after that, I agree with you. Give it some time. Give it some time to decipher. Give it some time. And I know a lot of options traders try to jump in that, but the premium's so high on these options that you could get the right direction and still lose money. This is why I don't do options, because the truth is that happens all the time. That happens all the time, where you get the direction right and you still lose money. But that's what I'll be looking at. What I'm watching today, Mustafa, to give us a good sign, is AMD. Why? AMD? Because I think AMD is one of these stocks that just loves to have momentum. It just loves to go like on like this big move back up, big move back down, big move back up, back down. And yeah, that catches traders. But when I'm looking for a run, I'll go to the momentum names, right? Like Tesla is a momentum name. When it gets momentum and it goes in one direction, like yesterday, it was straight down, right? And then the day prior it was straight up. That's what I mean by momentum. Like when they get that surge in energy, they go like usually just stair step and they just keep going. Same thing that AMD did here, right? It just started stair stepping higher, stair stepping higher. It was 7 days of pretty much, you can even say it about like 8 days, where it was just going straight up. Right. So that's like kind of 47 bars on the hourly, but that's what 18%. It just went up straight 18%. Now it's on the pullback right near levels where it can reclaim back in this kind of consolidation area. So in my eyes, I'm not saying that AMD is going back to, let's say, 170 or 190, but can I see it just going back and put towards 157? Yeah, because then they'll start looking bullish going into NVIDIA's report. And then you got to be careful what happens with NVIDIA, because it's going to affect AMD. But that tells them more and more that I don't think you'll just get like a big red bar to 140 today, because then that probably means that NVIDIA already let go. So I highly doubt that NVIDIA will let go beforehand. Why? Because the bulls are still in this, and they still believe that NVIDIA is going to maybe 200. I know there's people out there that believe that it's going to NVIDIA is going to 200 from here, right? And of course, we're not going to talk about what that is split adjusted, but that's a pretty upside, a rosy outlook. Let's just say that much. So we'll see what happens there. Stock sell is another way to play this. As you guys are seeing this drop right now, I'd point to these levels, and I could see it here on the 15-minute, how this has been going down to these levels, going down, down, down. Now you're getting this quick leak. I'm watching out the gates to see if we get a quick move back to the upside. All right, guys, I do want to take a look there really quickly at maybe some other stocks out there. Like always, guys, you guys throw up some stocks in the chat. You guys know where you're at. It's straight to cool. We got a lot more for you guys. And the bell. Up to you guys. Here we got about what? 24 minutes? Yeah, about 24 minutes here. A couple seconds. We'll see what happens on this. Can we get some movement today? Taking a look at really quickly the housing trade, right? Open up there towards 250 now, continuing to just grind higher. This is one that I'm still just like scratch my head, Mitch. Why are we in this one? Why are we not in this one? But it is what it is, right? I mean, I am still seeing the housing stocks rise. I was watching this one before the $2 move, up there now to 250. That's almost a 25% move. Looking to see if this thing can get up there towards like the 280s and $3. We'll see what happens there in open. But I see right here, Redfin also showing up on the scanners. Look at the strength that is going on in real estate. And Zillow, let's take a look, right? Nice little move yesterday. It was holding in there. Now I'd look for pullbacks to 55 to maybe join the party. We'll watch to see other kind of housing stocks make a move. And I've been looking around to see if there's maybe some different names, right? Like Toll Brothers, names like that, the home builders. How are those doing, right? DHI. You can see how those have been up at the top. Also, of course, ITB is another way to maybe look at this as the U.S. Home Construction Index continues strong. This is an area that I don't think too many traders are making trades on, and I can definitely see the strength out there. BLDR has been one that we've been talking about for now a couple of days, and that has been strong. CAR is another one to take a look at. That's, of course, your ACs, baby. If you're going to build houses, I'll tell you what, you might need to put some ACs in them. So we'll see what happens there if this can continue to lift. And maybe to see if some other industrials continue higher. I'll tell you what, guys, I did take the money in the XLU yesterday. So finally, all out of the swing trade in the XLU. We'll see what happens there, guys. But I do have some swing trades on that are in the red today. So let's talk a little bit about that. I have CAT that's pulling back on me that was up big, guys. So I'm watching to see if CAT can get the bounce today. But I was already up big on this. It got there towards 354, and I got this at 347. Of course, I've had CAT multiple times, so they're going to continue to watch that. Macy's starting to cut down, guys, and I'm in the green here just slightly. I have 400 shares, though, so really don't need to go too bigger on this. Maybe add another 100 or 200 shares. I'm looking for Macy's to come down to $15 and lower, eventually maybe making a move to 14. And when you think about it, that right there is what? Potentially $800. So at this point, I'm just going to let it work. We'll see what happens there if Macy's can continue breaking lows. Now let's go to Clean Spark, which is danger for me. And I'm looking at it this morning to see if this is going to make the lift. It can have it pull back to the 1160s, 1175s, but I don't want to see too much lower than that. I haven't added to this because truth is I need to get it back through 12. And starting to go back to 1225s, then I will go ahead and take a shot to add to this. We'll see what happens in Clean Spark if the Bitcoin names can catch a little bit of a bounce. They were doing really well yesterday and then pulled back heavy towards the close. We'll see what happens on these names. Also taking a look at the scanners, I see an oil name out there, PBR. We'll see what happens in oil today. XLE jumping. Can oil continue to kind of climb back? It has been climbing back. XOM, of course, is one way that I just take a quick look at this. You can see in the last 3 days, a nice little push there in XOM. We'll see what happens on these. And a disaster in Kava as we saw some selling after hours in the filings. It looks like some board members selling, hitting Kava all the way down to 115. But in my eyes, board selling 7%? No. 9%? I think that's a little bit extreme. So I'll be watching to see if Kava can get a little bit of a bounce. XEL, Excel Energy showing up there. You guys know I've been looking at this one. I've been calling that one since 5680s. Not a bad move there in these energy names. Took the money in the XLU. We'll look to see if this finally changes trend. It could just continue higher, but I think I rode it up just as high as I could, man. I went from 73 back here, 88. We're talking about what? 21 days I was in this thing. So can't be mad about holding a swing trade for 21 days. It shows me more and more sometimes that holding positions that are green and letting them ride higher is definitely the way that you win in swing trading. So what does that mean? Getting into what I call positions of power, where you're ways away from your entry and you're letting the market do the heavy lifting versus you do the heavy lifting. Too many times I see traders working hard. Really, after your entry, the hard work's done, right? At that point, it's all about exits and just taking our money. and cutting the losers when we need to. So we'll see what happens on these stocks. Let's keep it going. I'll kick it to Mustafa here to see what maybe he's seeing out there from your list. What are you maybe liking today?
I was just looking at Kava is interesting.
Kava. Yeah.
You know,
it is an interesting little pullback.
So this is kind of interesting today because the stock is down kind of like it went to 113.70 something. So I think you might have a chance yet to open with this name. If it like dips to 113 levels, it's gonna bounce. So definitely a great buy. I get
it's
it,
a good one.
Selling, but you know they just reported earnings, and the thing with Kava is that now everybody is trying to catch the next Chipotle. That's the thing. And
that's for sure.
This is it. So, I mean, any weakness you could actually buy the dip. So I would wait and see where this opens, like within the first 5 to 10 minutes. If it dips below that the pre-market low, which is around 113.58ish, something around there, and I would definitely get interested in buying this long for a kind of a quick scalp.
Yeah, and I'll give you a pattern of mine, Mustafa, and I'm sure you've heard of it, heard me mention it before, but it's looking for 4 downside attempts. So if you look at it here, right? So this is like the first wave, right? So the first wave is like just down, 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 and you're looking for the sideways action, right? Then look for another wave down, right? You break the support there, you get a second wave right here, right? Then you break, where's the support? Just look for the breakdown. That's going to give you the signs of those what I call waves down, right? It's kind of just like the same way it goes on the upside. So then you get this one to the 113. Now you have 3 waves, right? When I see those 3 waves, it essentially creates the support, right? It's kind of like that waving bottom, right? So then now I'd look for, can you go down and take that out? You just mentioned it. Looking to see if you take that down out the gates, and then looking for what? Quick upside reversal. So that's what I would be watching here. So give me a wick towards that 114, 113, and then start to come right back up, right? Because then you now have those 4 attempts, but didn't break the low, right? So that's another thing. Does it break the low or not, right? So I would look to see what the body, make sure that the body doesn't close underneath that wick, because you could still get wicks below that low, and it goes to like maybe 113, maybe even let's say like 112.95, and then right back up, right? And so that's called the undercut and rally trade, also mentioned by plenty of traders out there. I'll give Gil Morales a little bit of a mention, as he's one of those names that has talked about that trade. And one of the things that he talks about in that trade is you want to see high volume through a cut down of an important key level support. As you see that cut down, look to see that big volume show up on the time in sales to give you signs that the buyers are now stepping into the name, right? And so that's another thing to look at. Of course, you can use like kind of like different services like Bookmap that we partnered with to kind of look to see big orders hanging out at those locations, and then watching to see them get filled. And it almost sometimes feel like we get those dark pools, those are what we call iceberg orders, right? Where it's just like endless fill at that level, right? Where it just keeps filling, and then it comes right back up. We'll see what happens with these names, Kava and other restaurants out there. Starbucks has been continuing to climb higher. One that is in the retail space that hasn't been a bad one that I'm continuing to watch and being like, man, Mitch, maybe should have held on to this one. Best Buy continuing to climb back up. It's up there closer towards a 90. And I was looking at it down here at the 85s, right? So now it's towards the 89. We'll look to see if it gets to the 90 and starts to go higher. And that's in specialty retail. And we were looking to see if Amazon would close that gap. It did close the gap. Now can it go back to that level? So we'll be watching that today. SPY overall still declining a little bit here before the bell. It's about 9:15. We still got a little bit more to go here. Let's see what else is moving. I'll keep taking a look to see if there's any smaller name getting a move there. ADSN, what do you got for me?
It's a small cap pharma stock, I think. TRIB.
Okay. Oh, Trib finally woke up. Oh, that's on the downside there. That I've been watching that one since the morning. It's just been on the fade.
It went over
fade,
four, I
fade.
think.
Yeah,
$4
yeah, it did. It's done kind of what I talk about the kind of the three waves right there. I would call it kind of a three-wave move that's starting to slow down. So you've got 1, 2, you got that third attempt to break out. Now you're going back towards the prior resistance. This 290 area is the area where it could find some bounce. Now the only question is, can it get back above 3 and actually hold this? The support underneath it is towards like the 284s. You can see it here, 280s, 279s. So that's kind of like your undercut here and then back above 3. But you need to see some real buyers step in there. For me, I don't like it too much. A little bit too much decline after an attempted breakout, right? So you're trying to recover here. And this is kind of like your ABC type of move. And you do got the bottomings there for that. But you're going to need a lot of volume to get it back there to $4. We'll see what happens on this one. Trib. Was watching other ones out there. SOPA was another one. I'll call it SOPA. It's like a soap opera over here. We'll see if this one brings the drama today. I like this one because it's kind of going sideways here. Had a kind of a real blow-off type look here towards $2. Now, if you look at the hourly chart, that's what I look at a lot of the times. And this makes sense, right? This resistance to hold the pullback, and it's holding right there, right? So the resistance is holding well. Now you need to take a look to see if you'll make a run to the next resistance, right? Which is up there towards the 148 and the 150 spot. Not a bad one to watch here is SOPA. So another thing is on the 15-minute, the same thing we're talking about. I'm going to just keep talking about it because this is not the only time I see this, right? So 1, bottoming action here, 2, 3, and you just got an attempted breakdown through the 122, and you're getting what? Kind of a reversal action off of that. That's what you want to see. Go to the 5-minute. Look how it looks like a doji. Dojis tell us what? Maybe potential change in trend happening, right? Then you're getting a swing back to the upside. So in my eyes, I'd like to get this to a bullish engulfing candle where this goes towards, let's say, maybe 134s, 135s. And then I'm looking for pullbacks off the resistance or prior resistance here to try to catch the pullback buy, which would be around the 130s, 131s, a spike to 135 or 140, coming back towards that 130 won't be looking too bad in SOPA. All right, guys, what's up out there, guys? What are you guys taking a look at? Let's go ahead. Let's take a look at what's going on in the chat. LUMN for short wisdom. That's an interesting name that has been trending higher. SMFL, Steph. I really don't like that name. I've seen it trade so much in the pre-market, and even make a move in the intraday. But a lot of times it's just fades. It's smart for life. I don't even know what it really does, but this tells me enough. Look at the splits that you see here. So there's one split in 2023. There's another split here in 2023. And it just did another split in April. So that just tells me more and more. This is what you call one of those companies that is just on the huge decline. It's going to continue to do splits to keep themselves alive. But what are they doing? They're diluting their shares. Look at the float size and how that's probably moved in the last year. It's probably gone through the roof, right? So just to mention that, something to look at. That's why I don't like trading these names, because they're always just going to pop and drop versus a name that can stay at the top and kind of go sideways. Even Serve, right? So Serve came from $3, but is it doing a one-day pop and back down to zero? No, it's kind of holding in there, right? So those are the names that I actually like trading more on. Like this LUMN, this was actually a good trade on the upside. It's not giving you the most big potential 300%, but it also isn't coming down 300% in a day. That's something to look at. But LUMN, interesting one to watch for a cut down trade. I see why you're looking for the short wisdom. It's already dropping fast here in the pre-market towards the 570s. I'd look to see if you can get back above the 6. Make an attempt there, but you can see it here. 1, 2, 3. And then on this fourth attempt to go towards the 630s, it kind of failed right there. And ever since then, we're kind of leaking through that. So if you can recover 630, that's when Lumen can try to recover. I'd look for a rejection of 6 towards the bell. If I look at the 15-minute, you can see you went down here towards 1550. I would love to see it get back there to 590s, 597s. Look like it's going to go through 6 and then take the hit. We'll see what happens there in LUMN. All right. Anything going on out there, Mustafa, you want to bring up?
SOND.
SOMD?
SOND. Look at this. This is very interesting because all-time high, and this is about to reverse. I think today might be the day.
You're talking to Saunders?
Yes.
Do you know what this is?
Saunders, right?
Yeah. It's so what it is. It's
hospitality business.
Yeah, it's like an Airbnb hotel, Mustafa. Yeah. That's the way I would describe it, right? Because that's what it is, man. I've actually stayed at a Saunders. I've stayed at a Saunders in Detroit. So I know a little bit about it, right? And I've done it for 2 years now. So pretty much it's like a hotel that doesn't have a real lobby, right? Think about it that way, right? There's no big desk when you walk in. Everything's run electronically, right? It's just like an Airbnb. You kind of check in, you go straight to the room, you put the code, and you're right in the room, right? And this is a good and bad thing, right? You don't have as much security and things like that. But the truth is, it's an Airbnb type of company. And this thing has come off $1. So it's been a big run here. Let's just say to the least. You ready for this, guys? This has been 1,477% run.
It's insane, man. This is why
That's ridiculous.
This is ridiculous, and I think it's due for a major correction.
The question is, when does it turn, right? So what can we use? What do you see?
Like 860 levels, 860, 70 max for this guy, and then it's gonna turn.
Okay, that's what Mustafa sees. What I see here is potential to 946. So above 9, I could start a position to the short side.
To short, right? Yeah.
That's the way I would think about it, right? So if I see the weekly and I see it between the range there, so I'm trying to get back there towards prior weekly lows right here in this 23 hours, and then what also became a rejection move, right? So like we cut down here through the 15, going through the 10, and then what did we do? We went right back to that 10 and rejected that 10. So that's going to be your area where you could see another rejection area. Now, you could look below this, but my thing is, why not look at an area that I've seen breakdown and rejected from? There's a reason why they didn't like it there at that $10 spot. And what is that $10 spot? You're talking the SPACs. This was a SPAC, guys. This is when it cut down through that $10 spot. What happened there? Investors could have got their money back, right? The way the SPACs work. So I think that's exactly what happened there. But investors took that $10 back, and now you're trying to reclaim 10, and you have what's called overhead supply, right? Overhead supply right there. We'll see what happens when we get to that level. It'd be a fun swing trade, Mustafa. It'd be something to look at.
I would think so. Yes, definitely.
Yeah. And what happens a lot of the times, why I'm mentioning swing trade is that, at least for me on these, a lot of the times what happens is they kind of slowly leak in the intraday, not giving you much like reward in the intraday. And then in the after hours is when it does that down move, like $2 or $3, right? Yeah, and then it's very hard to come after it, right? Like, let's say if you were trying to short this thing at, like right now, let's say $8, right? But then you see it in the intraday, you're kind of like iffy. I don't know if I'm going to get in. Maybe, okay, finally, it's going down to 8. Let me short it here. I get 8, and it goes down to like maybe 780s, 20 cents. Yeah. And then at the end of the day, I'm like, well, you know what? I'm not going to be in this overnight. I don't have the buying power or whatever. I'm going to get out. Well, you get out at that 780s, maybe even for a small win, but the next day it's at $5. And then you're just frustrated, right? So that's why I like it more on the swing trade side of things. And that's why I think swing trading works well, because you give it those overnights to really run into the liquidity, and then it finds that there is no liquidity and it starts to get down there, right? And so that's the interesting part there for Saunders. I'm with you. It does look like a short. You're definitely going after it here. I'd look for the pattern to give me what I call the blow off top, the move through 9.
Yeah.
A strong move. RSI also needs to go a little bit higher for me. So I talk about what's called historical RSI. Historical RSI is just simple. Just look on the chart. Where does it turn around? It turns around a lot of the times when it hits the 89 area, right? Even recently, right? Right here on this big pop, 89, then the turnaround. Back up here, 89, then the turnaround. See what I mean by historical RSI? And that's just based on the stock itself versus just the classic 80-20 mentality, right? So look for signs on the charts to tell you that. So that tells me that it has a tiny bit more juice in it, tiny bit. And you know, if you're short early, that's how you get caught. So I think I'd be waiting to see this do that big blow off day. I want to see Saunders up another 10, 15%. And then I'll be like, yeah, let's go hammer. It's time to hammer, right? And so I'll be watching for something like that. We'll see what happens there.
I think in the short term, this is not going to go over 9, but we'll see.
Let's find out, right? Mustafa, a little lunch bet for you and I. A little lunch bet.
Let's go. Let's do it.
All right. We'll see who's getting that lunch. What do you guys think in the chat? How about you guys throw it up? What do you guys think? Over 9, press 1. Under 9, time to short here for Saunders. Press 2. Of course, you don't have to take the trade just for fun.
I'm looking at this like a 3 to 4 day swing trade.
All right, we'll take a look at that. Not a bad one there. Vic G bringing an interesting one here. SMCI. This one, they love to do option bets on this. That's what it was coming back. Now it's right back towards the levels where all the option bets were taking place, which was off that 500. And a lot of options traders went after this thing, and it's right back down. This is one of the hardest stocks to trade, I think, out there in the space for, like, let's say, chips, right? So, and this mentality, I think you got to watch to see if this low holds today. It's going to be all about SOXL. I'd be watching SOXL. If SOXL can reverse back to the upside, yeah, you could get SMCI to get a little bit of a move to the upside today. But, man, is it already taking a beating? This looks news-related. Let me make sure that there's no big news out there. I think that there is something for sure that's affecting this stock here. Let me find it. All right, let me go to my Benzinga Pro. Let me see what's going on in SMCI this morning. I was looking around. It looks like
also one small reminder, Mitch.
Oh, there's a short report, man. Hindenburg.
Oh yeah.
Hindenburg. Short report on Hindenburg. So Hindenburg is actually someone I know. I could actually hit them up right now on Twitter. Should I hit them up, guys? Should I tell them to come on? I love to bring the guys from the short reports on to actually explain to me why they're going short, right? What's the thesis, right? So it's an interesting one there. Hindenburg hitting it. I can take a look at the short report to kind of give you guys a little bit of an outlook. We'll see what happens on that. It's 9:29 though. Let's get ready for the bell. Definitely SMCI investors right now are like, man, Hindenburg, I don't like you. We'll see what happens here, guys. Let's get after it. All right, stop loss always with volatile penny stocks. To tell you the truth, Steph, this is a hard one for me. I don't know if I agree with it always, right? I think you got to have a mentality, a mental stop, but do you have to always have a real stop placed? I'm not sure. I think this is one that we can go back and forth on. We'll talk a little bit about it during the show. Let's go. It's bell time, guys. Let's get it. Go get that money. See what you can do today. It's time. Let's go, team. Let's go. All right, guys. Let's see what we can come up with today. Another beautiful day here. Ready to trade, ready to focus, and ready to get after it. Tesla, first move higher. That tells me what? What about SOXL here, man? SOXL right out the gates. Let's see it. All right, looking at it right now. Let's see if we can get this up move. If I do take it now, it would be up to 36. So you got to be a little bit careful with that. You did see a nice little jump right before the bell here. So I'm looking to see if I can get kind of that inverse head and shoulders look here where it tries to go to the 36 and then reverses right back up here. Let's see what happens here at the 36, 36.29, 36.20 area. There's a little bit of a bounce there. Now you have it on the 1 minute. Now the only question is, do I want to go off of the 1 minute? Trib going off there, guys, did do a spike there towards 3. So the 278 held to a key there, guys. So the 3 spike there. Now it's trying to find some buy the pullback buyers off the 290s. Let's see if it takes 3 again here on Trib. You guys can see it there, 296. Will it take the 3 here? Let's find out. Stock sell did do that reversal right back towards 3660s. Tesla higher. That's one that I'm looking at. All right, looking around, guys, trying to keep up with the stocks. So if you guys see anything moving, you guys want to talk about it, let me know. How'd that ADXN do? ADXN coming right back down here towards the 1230s here. Went up towards the 13. So now I see 1, 2, 3, 4 times. This looks like a short for me now as it starts to break 12. But it's a very hard short. Just be careful out there, guys, as it starts to reverse. VWAP is down there towards 1170s. It's already back towards the 1190s. We'll see what happens there on ADXN. It's not a bad looking trade there right now. I'd be shorting ADXN on my outlook. Like always, guys, you guys choose your own. But I see 4 and a blow off top. That's what I see. So I'd like this if it can get back here towards 1250s and then come right back down. So come towards the 1250s like you're going to break out and then just fail. That's when I can get and hammer on. So first let it fail the 1250 move higher and then I can go after it. Trib, how did that one do there? Back down to the 289s, did get above the 3s, but not a big push there for it being that much volume in the name. All right, HAIN, taking a look at that one. Not much on that one there. SLNO. Definitely Tesla with a nice little rip there. SLNO with a big push there, not looking too bad. That's a therapeutic stock. Big push there to 49.55. All right, looking around, guys. I'm seeing Tesla strong there. MRM that was strong yesterday pulls back to the 590s. Where's this one at compared to yesterday? It's trying to hold the 6 pull and then go back to 7. Doesn't look too bad there on this MRM. What are you seeing out there, Mustafa?
I'm waiting for SAUND to break 850. Then I'm going to start shorting that name. It's around 820 now.
Loving
and also
AMD.
APDN is spiking. APDN.
Okay, APDN. I love it.
Yeah.
All right, looking at AMD here, guys. Would love to see it undercut.
It's going to be halted. It could be halted, so.
Nice move there in AMD today, guys. I'm looking for a little bit of a pullback here to get it in on AMD. It's right now up there towards 152. Would love to see a pullback back towards 150.50. So that's what I'm looking for, guys. The only question is, will I get it? 150.50. I'm looking for it on AMD. Might go long on AMD. Soxal did do that move where it held the 36.25s, now going back towards 36.75s. Got there to almost 37 there. So, hey, not a bad move already on Soxal. Of course, on today's playbook, we'll see how it turns out. AMD doing that pullback here, going to give me that opportunity if it can get back towards the 150.50 here. All right, looking for that continued pullback action here on AMD. Would love to see an undercut of the lows and then come right back up. $150.40s, $150.50s. That's what I'm looking at on AMD. I will tell you guys a little bit later on how you guys can be linking up your trade ideas platform with, of course, Trade the Pool. So if you guys aren't doing that already, stay tuned to find out how you can link your windows. So essentially, if I click on Trib on my Trade the Pool platform, it'll actually turn towards that, right? It'll actually go ahead and fill in the box bringing me to the stock like Vox right now, making a nice little rip there. VXX, nice little move there on this one. VOXX up there towards 440s from 360s today. Nice little pattern, going strong there. Tesla pulling back, looking strong right now. Looking around, guys, what do you guys see out there? I see XPEV up there, CTO. Still not far enough on the pullback there for AMD. Might just have to jump up here towards the 150-50s if I want to get this, guys. But I have to hold off the 151. That's where it just gets very hard. I hate buying high of day breakouts. Can't do it. Can't do it. It's a golden rule, baby. NVIDIA back towards the VWAP there. It doesn't look too bad there for me. The 126 seems interesting right now. We'll see what happens there on NVIDIA. Let's take a look at the SPY here. SPY is just hanging out here at the VWAP. So is the Qs. Let's see if we can get a fake out to the downside here. It's just hanging out there. Apple's declining there, just to kind of mention a name that's pulling back. Tesla strong now, right back down, guys. So that could have just been a big resistance rejection right back towards the 213s. So could see that quick pullback here at AMD now, trapping some buyers at that 150, 150. That's why I didn't buy it, because it's a trap there. It seemed like it was a trap. And right now it's telling me, yeah, you would have got trapped, right? You would have bought that 150, 150. I would already be feeling the pressure in AMD. It'd be one of those immediate buys and you're like, oh, crap. So let's look around, guys. What are you guys taking a look at in the comments? I'm taking a look. What are you guys watching out there? Looking for a quick short on Vox now? Hey, shout out to you guys. Get after it. I'm with it. I'm with it. Don't worry. I use stop losses too. It's not like I don't, but I think there's just ways to use them. And at the end of the day, there's no one way, guys. Hot potato all around, guys. Potato out here. He sees it. Good luck to all. Shorting Duke, says Wisdom. Not a bad one, really. I mean, I'm looking at the XLU as started to turn around, but right now it's pretty strong there. 75.85s. Tesla back down to 211s. What a washout there. Qs are probably getting hit on that. There's that downside. Now you're going to get that attempt to break down stock sell there. You're getting it right now. APDN, one that you've mentioned before, Mustafa, up there towards the 250s, holding in on the 260s. We'll see if it takes the next level. Hourly chart has a move towards 3 available to it. So that's one thing that I definitely say. Resistance here is good. The next one is 278. So if I'm looking at one being a resistance around 278. So at 266 now, I'd like to pull back below the 250s, closer towards the 245s. That's just the way that I look at it right now. Did Trib ever get that move? Now it's getting that move a little bit higher. Now towards 320s. Held that 278 to a key, man. We drew that one in the pre-market off the prior support, and it was literally to the cent. 278 bottom. Now towards 320s here on Trib. I'd like the little pullback here into the 308s, not even hitting the $3. So come back into the lower threes, but don't wash out the 3, because if you wash out the 3, you really start to break down. So there's the 308s. That's kind of the similar trade right there. So you have the availability there. You see how it quickly goes and jumps to the top. That's exactly that. That was a nice buy there at the 308s going towards the 320s here. So now I'd look at maybe like 310s on the buy, which is the resistance right here. But you can see it. It was the opportunity right there at the 308s pullback, not hitting the $3 spot and jumping towards the 322s. Now you want to see it take the next level to the upside. Next level is the 327 and the 335 break towards the VWAP. The morning VWAP towards that kind of 340 area is available on the next drive. We'll see if it gets there. 322s on Trib. It's not a bad one there, guys. ATEC, medical device, just bounced off the VWAP there. Has gone to the 635s before. We'll see if it gets moving there. SOPA down through the $1.08, so that's not a good one there. HAIN, packaged foods name, just ripping towards the upside. Got there towards the 9. We'll see what happens. These grocery stores names are kind of moving right now. So I'm looking at Kroger's. Kroger's looks like it might want 53. I know it's in the battle right now with the Albertsons. I know that they came out with some news yesterday. Kroger was saying that they'll invest, I think it was like $8 billion in Albertsons so they can lower their prices to match Kroger. And that's the idea that should push the deal through. So looking at Kroger's right now, it tries to recuperate 53. AMD went all the way back down there now and given the opportunity to come back after it. I like it here now as it's pulled back. Now I got to go ahead and get after it here. All right, just grab 50 there, guys. I'm going to go ahead and try to get long on AMD. Just grab some there. I would love to grab it closer towards 150. I got 150.16 there. Low there right now. Let's see if we can get it maybe a triple bottom towards the 150. If it hits 150 again, I can add another 100 shares here. Looking at it, it's looking pretty good. Starting to bounce back. I like this first move here. I'm going to add another 50 now. Now I have 150.31, 100 shares. Looking for the pullback towards 150. I can add another 100 shares here, but really want to see this break out now through the 150.50. And that would be a nice, like kind of a dollar plus move. So let's start seeing if this can move here. AMD on the pullback. So you see the 5-minute pattern here. Now I want to see it take out this high here, and that would be an opening range momentum break to the upside. Pullbacks closer towards my level can be adds, but really I think AMD can make like a multi-dollar run. So I don't need to go too big on the sizing. I just need to let it work. The 15-minute has this trend line that it's trying to hold. I would like to see this close right back up above that. So the opening on this was 150.13. Got to be careful with this turning into a red candle on the 15 minutes, and that has about 2 minutes left. You see right there, it turns red. That's where you got to be a little bit careful, right? That's where you get attempted moves to downside break. 150.20s here, looking for 150s to add another 50 shares. Got the 50 out there. All right, guys, just grabbed another 50 shares there. All right, nice little bounce off that 150. Now I got 150 shares. Looking to see if I can take 150.50. GDS giving me an alert there. Definitely want to keep an eye on GDS, as I think that's a big short for me that I missed yesterday. Got red on that, even though I was green on the day. So I lost on that GDS trade. I would love to see this come back. And really, this still looks like a good fade off for me. So I'll be watching this GDS today. Would love to see a little bounce on this coming back towards the 17s. I'm going to set an alert there. I got to go ahead and set that alert there. Just continuing to watch AMD also. So just got to keep watching out there, guys. Let's go. Let's go. Let's trade, baby. Mustafa, if you see anything, take over, my friend. I
just missed it. Just missed it.
No worries, man. Take a deep breath and let's keep rocking and rolling, man.
I missed a nice short on trip. It's
okay. It's all good, man. There's another opportunity out there, right? There's always more. Yep. That's the fun part of trading. There's always more, man. There's always more, guys. All right, so back through my entry, 150.20s is where I'm going to start looking for a nice little push here. Now I'm getting a little bit of a takedown attempt, guys. Got to be careful here. AMD trying to cut me out here, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and just set my wrist there. 142 on the risk here. It's starting to come back there. It could have been just a wick to the downside. So just be careful that that's just a wick there. But definitely looking at it here. 149.25 would be my out. All right, let's see if this can go right back through that 150. If it's just the wick or the stop out there. So that would be the out for sure. So I can go ahead and make this red and know that, hey, if it cuts that line, get out, Mitch, get out. Now I'm looking for the recovery now. Let that just be a wick and then recover all the way back to 150, 150. Now we're going back towards my entry. Normally I'd add here at the 150 20s, right? But we just got a attempted breakdown. So adding here doesn't make sense. What will happen is above VWAP going towards 150, 150, and then pull back to VWAPs will be my add. Nice little move on the first action here to 150.50. So not looking too bad on the first action. Let's see if this can really take back. And I want to see the Qs also take back. And big thing for me is NVIDIA, right? Let's just be honest. NVIDIA needs to take the highs right back to the upside. 126 takeout is what I'm looking for in NVIDIA. You've gotten now 1, 2, 3 pullbacks. Looking for maybe potentially the 124s to hold here on NVIDIA and start to work back towards the 126. AMD's now back towards that 150.60, so looking good there now, up about 70 here. Could take some money and run, but really looking for the breakout above the 150s, which would give us a nice little gain there. We'll be up closer towards 200, can maybe take 175 off and then really let this go for the run. Tesla down big right now. That ADXN, man, that wasn't a bad short there. It came back towards 1238s and then dropped off like a tank, man. Like to see that get back to 12. Wouldn't mind to take a shot on that. Going back to AMD, it's definitely pressuring me and moving all around here. So just got to watch it here. Now that it's back above my entry, it should go. So I'll look for the breakout above the 150.76 here now. If it goes through that, then I can start looking for ads as I'm deeper into the green. Shouldn't see it break 150 now. The breakdown through that 150, and I got to go. I got 150 here, guys. I got 150.20. That's my average. So feeling actually pretty good on the average. All right, what's up out there, guys? Smash the like. Voxy Vox, get after it, guys. TLT on the bounce. Okay, wisdom. There's that recovery there. Now we're trying to take out through the highs. Let's go back to that 151. Let's go through it. ADXN now bound to 11. Trib at 3 at 20. Still climbing, but it's a slow climb on that trib. AMD trying to come back here. Looking at GDS, guys. Looking at GDS as it starts to fade off. This just might be a fade all day long, guys. So I might have to actually step up to the plate here on GDS. Would love to see a bounce towards 17s and above. Come on, GDS. If this could come back to VWAP around, let's say 1709, 17s, it would be looking really good. AMD looking decent here. Just really needs to make the breakout. Still not getting that breakout just yet. Went to 150.90 and slowed down. All right, guys, we might get another 150 attempt here. The only question is, do I want to hang on here or do I just want to cut it? That's one thing I'm thinking about here. It's a battle, right? I'm thinking both ways, man. I'll tell you guys that. 150.48 here, trying to make the move here. Let's see if it makes the move on the 5-minute. Really shouldn't see it break that 9 EMA. That's closer towards the 150.30s. Could pull back to that level, right? It could even pull back to 150.11. Really shouldn't see a close below 150 here, but 151 really needs to get taken if it really wants to make the move to the upside. Here's that 150.30s attempt towards the 9 EMA, and it bounces right off of it. That's not a bad outlook. I wouldn't want to see it cut below that. All right, AMD, what are you going to do for me? Overall market looking like here. Let me take a look at the Qs. Qs back to VWAP. Can they start to climb back? Let's see what happens out there. SOXL bounce off to 36 again, guys. So keeping a close eye on that. The VIXI went up there towards 1150s. Man, I've been scalping the crap out of that VIXI. I want to keep scalping it, but I know, when the good gets good and you keep trying it, man, that's how you end up getting wrecked. Still looking at it right now today. We'll see what happens. Today's probably not that day, unless we still get continued downside. Here's a nice approach here for AMD. If it's going to go, I got the opportunity right here for it to go ahead and make the breakout. So I'm going to add here and then hold the rest break even. Just looking for the breakout towards 151 here. Come on. Get back towards that 150.80s here. Let's go. Get to the 150.80s. We got there towards 150.90s right here. There's 150.80s showing up there. Can we take the 151 and just go? Opportunity is there. There's a little bit of a pullback. Now I take my shot here. Boom. All right, there you guys. I'm 150.34. It's going to hold break even. Going to look for the breakout now. I'm right on that 5-minute candle at the low is where my entry is. Now I look for the breakout here, guys. Nice little breakout to start here. Good little break here. $151.40s or 30s, and I can take like 100 off. Let me do 35, 151.35. Putting out that order there, guys. GDS going towards the 17 there for me. Going to keep an eye on that one. It just rejected that 17 really fast there. I like this one for a short today, guys. So I'm going to keep getting after this one. This one actually could be a swing trade short. Let's go do that. I have the buying power now. All right, shorting some here, and I'm going to have limits to go back towards like 1720s to add another 100. Then 1740s, another 100. Eventually, I see this breaking down big. Macy's great right now. On that one, leaving that one. Could add another 100 shares there. Let's go back. All right, AMD, let's go. Let's go. Come on, AMD. Watching the Qs right now. They just made a nice little rip. The Qs ripped to the upside. So that's actually a good outlook there, guys. SOXL. Look at the move in SOXL. So I wanted to be in one of these two, either AMD or SOXL, and look at SOXL. Nice move now. I'd look for pullbacks towards 36.25s. Let me know if you guys see that out there. GDS coming right back down. That's actually a good outlook there. Giving myself an alert if it comes back towards that 36.25s. But right now, nice little lift off there. That gives me a good outlook here for AMD to break up and give me that move here towards the 151.30s. Take some first profits. Take 100 off. and then really look to see if I can get a big win on AMD. Pushing it up a little bit higher right now as I want to get through that 151. It went to 151.08s, looking for that 151.30s to show up, 151.40s in that spot there. It'd be the 5-minute high, but looking for that move here. 5 minutes, you can see it here. We're hitting a trend line. We got to be worried that we slow down a little bit there. There's the trend line. It needs to get back above that breakout towards the 151.30s. Q's slowing down a little bit there. Let's go. All right, guys, what's up out there? How we doing? Dixie will always be part of life. People have more fear than they know. Yeah, they do, man. They do. Get after it. TQQ, SQQ. You get it, future day trade. Guys, it's not getting the move, man. I'm canceling my sell right now to get off of it, but it's starting to pull back pretty fast here. I hate the way AMD trades sometimes. It goes to the top and the bottom of the range so easily that sometimes you just got to get out and you got to be willing to get back in. And that's the hardest part right here, where it comes back to my break-even spot. And I have sized in on this, so got to be careful for the cut down through. As it pulls back, it might do an attempt towards 150 here to reload. And I just got to determine, do I want to cut down and let it go another 40 cents on the downside? So just watching it right now. Probably will cut out here if it starts to cut through the 130s here. The 150 30s. There, it hits it a couple of times. It's trying to reload off 150 here. Here's that undercut low where you get that undercut towards the breakdown. This is where it stops out a lot of traders. Now it's trying to come right back up. At that point, I'm setting the stop here. At this point, I got to set the stop. It's either going to work and come back through that 151, or I'll look to get right back in here. So there you guys have it. Just set that there. If I set it towards 150, it's like $70 there. So 150 is going to get that attempted look. I can set it at $30 here if I'd like here. But man, that 150 test is bound to happen any moment here. I'm going to stay to a $38 risk there. 150.15 stop set. We talked about it in the chat, right? Certain times I am going to set the stop, right? At this point, I got to show my hand. I'll get out if it hits the 150.15. Right? So looking for a 90 MA recovery, that's 150.38. 150.38 holds that, then comes right back to the upside. If not, you could get the takedown right through that 150. Could get stop hunted here at the 150.15s. Looking like it's going down and recollecting volume right here, guys. So there is the cut down attempt here in AMD. Just kind of risk it to get the biscuit, I guess. I canceled my stop for right now, guys. I'm shifting it towards the 150 move because I have a feeling we're going to get this attempt right now. Tesla just made a hard downside push there. The Qs are pulling back. You might get a VWAP attempt there. So that's what you got to be kind of thinking about here. Are you willing to risk it on AMD below that 150? Got to keep that in mind here. There's a nice little push higher back towards the 150.50s there, but still not really taking the next step and really kind of breaking out there. Little chomp on AMD, wouldn't you know it? The choppiness on AMD right now. Trib right there at the $3 spot. You guys looking for the smaller names. Vox keeps hitting up to 5 and failing. We'll see if it gets through that 5. All right, guys, setting my risk down towards $100 of risk, 106 towards that 149.80s. So we'll see what happens here, guys. There's that 150 attempt there. I had a feeling we'd get them to move towards 150. It's just the way that AMD likes to do it here. Likes to shake people out and then try to get right back in. Be careful there, guys. This is going to be moving up and down. All right, downside on AMD, definitely in there, guys. Be careful out there, guys. This is going to move. I'm taking a shot on AMD, but I could pay the price by taking a little bit bigger shot here now. SOXL on the pullback towards the 3688s. That actually looks better. That SOXL looking better than the AMD trade right now. The AMD trade's all over the place, yet SOXL, really nice cut back through the 3650s, pulled back. Nice push there. We'll see if that keeps moving. All right, AMD, what you going to do for me today, man? You're definitely giving me gray hairs. SMFL going towards the 151 for those smaller players out there. APDN starting to turn around there.
I just shorted this name.
Disney?
SMFL. SMFL.
Oh, SMFL. There you go.
I just shorted it 154.
Okay. My man getting after it on the smart for life. Voxy Vox. Will it get through that $5 spot? Tried. Multiple times there. 1, 2, 3. It's on the 4th attempt right now. Will it get through there, or will it run into a wall? Could see it hitting 5 and maybe slightly above and then coming right back. We'll see. GDS down to 1690s there. The swing looking good for the short side on this one. AMD still just chomping around, man. Getting a test here on AMD. It's going to probably hit the 149.80s on the triggers to stop some stops there. So I got to start risking a little bit more on it. There's the trigger stops right there. So that's kind of what I was expecting to see it there. If I would have had my stop there, I would have got triggered. So I don't even have the stop out there right now. I'm just watching the price action here. Got to be careful though, because every time that I do this, I'm increasing the risk on AMD. And right now it's at 120. That's fine because I can risk up to 200 on any one name. But the truth is definitely it starts to become a push. Now looking for the 150 recovery. If not, it goes through that 149.50, and you really got to be careful for that washout through there. There's 149.60s going towards that 50s right now. Washout happening right now on AMD. The only question, will it recover here? Q's slowing up there at the top also. Can this candle go back to green is what I'm looking for. See how you got in what, like 5-6 candles straight red? Need to see this change trend. Opened at 149.40, 149.95. It recovers 150. It'll get back to green. That's how AMD loves to do it. That undercut and then rally. There's 150.04s. Now let's see if this does a big green candle to 150.60. If it does that back to VWAP, that's when I can go ahead and add again, looking for the swing. Trib showing up there. Just popped above 3. Still well. Vox just hit, I think, towards 5. 495 and then turned around a little bit there. GDS going lower on the swing trade. That looks great. Saunders showing up there. 868. Oh, we get to 9 today. Need some lunch, man. Am I shorting Vox yet, Steph? Not yet. Not yet. I'd look for a blow off top at 5s. There's the blow off top outlook where you get that attempted breakout to the upside. I'm sticking on AMD right now because it's just too fast of a trade. I don't have the stop just placed there. But Vox there, 515s, went to a high of 520s. So I'd wait for it to cut through 5 again. Right now it's there, 530s now. So you got to be careful. AMD just trying to shake me, man. Trying to shake me. And it's shaking me, that's for sure. Feel the shake and bake right now. The 150 rejection there. Not a good rejection to see on my outlook there. Now could really kind of break down here. AMD has tendency of, whenever I trade it, it has a tendency of doing this, man, where it's just like this big shake. You got to get through, and then eventually it makes the move. That's why you got to be slower than faster, right? Let's say if I was like 400, 600 shares right now, I'd already be stopped out, guys. Tesla back down to 208. That's how Tesla goes. This is the 3rd day in a row that it's doing this. Right? Going from the top and the bottom of the range on the hourly is Tesla. And it's crazy, man. Crazy on that Tesla. There's back towards 150s. That makes me feel a little bit more confident here. Let's just set the final stop and then stop watching AMD so I can go trade something else. Come on, hold that 150. Get up there. Get that next bar up there. There we go. Now you start to turn and recover the 9. You see how that light blue line starts to get recovered. Now look to see reloads at 150. Reloads at 150. There it comes. There's the 150 cut down. Now I look to see if 150 shows right back up. There's 150 right back, right? And so at some point, when we get this 5-minute candle to recover, let's say like 150.40, at that point, I shouldn't see 150 break. So we'll see what happens here. It's trying to recover that 150. You got above it. You coming back as people try to reload on it. $150.13s, still looking for that recovery. If you look on the 5-minute, you can see how this is trying to hold that bottoming action right around here. This 149.74s, and it's hit that multiple times. Looking for it to get back above the VWAP. That's the important outlook. Get back through that VWAP on 150.50s. Trib still struggling at that 3. Vox, just for Steph out there. I know that Steph was looking at this one, so I'm taking a look at it also. Vox got up there towards 5, almost 550s, 540s. Now creating kind of topping action here. Could start slowing down and then cutting back below the 5. I'm waiting for that cut down to see when that happens. Right now, I'm not fighting it. AMD just chomping all around, guys. It still has yet to make the move. Sideways action, right? Stock sell, not doing too bad. That looks good for the 37 break. Let's see if it breaks 37. That'd be a good outlook for my stock. NVIDIA, how's that doing there? All right. NVIDIA holding the VWAP pullback there, the 9 EMA. Let's see if it takes 127 and 128. Vox starting to come back now. Did do that kind of blow off towards the 540s, now coming back towards the 520s. Still pretty strong, but starting to slow down. 1, 2, 3. Might do an attempt one more time on the 5 minute. Has still that attempt. 1 minute, it's still already good. There's AMD now starting to come back here. Let's see if it can really make the move here. Trying to get after this today, guys. I'm definitely taking a shot. There we go. Back closer towards my entry. Now I want to see it through the spike through the VWAP towards 150.80s. Let's go. Let's go, AMD. Let's get this really rocking and rolling. Q's going higher. That makes me feel confident. Tesla going lower. Trib just broke 3. That thing did not want to hang on at all today. Same thing with ADXN. Just went to 12 and now it's cutting the 11. There's AMD back into the green there now. Now feeling confident to take the swing here, guys. All right, guys, just added another 50 shares there. Now I got 150.40s. Looking for this to really get that run to 151.50s. So let's go, AMD. Make me some money. There we go. Nice little push there. Now pullbacks towards 150.50 I can actually add off of. So I'll be looking for pullbacks to that layer to add. Limit out for the ads. There's 151. Now looking good here for the break above the 151.40s. Can we make the run now back up above towards 151? Q's making the highs there. Now that's pushing strong. That's going to help NVIDIA there. NVIDIA, did we go through the high there? Close to it. Starting to see some momentum come back towards the technology names. If we take a look at what's open from the green, right? What's green from the open? Now technology is green. Even though you see this red, this is why I pay attention to the open. From the open, technology is green. So it's not really red there, right? So we'll see what happens there. Real estate going higher today too. That's an interesting outlook. I've talked about it. Zillow now recovering, 9 EMA pullback. We'll see what happens on open, right? Open, Toll Brothers. How are those doing? DHI. Keep an eye on those names. They are on the pullback today. Opportunities out there in real estate. Financial services going down, and man, it makes me just want to go shorting Goldman Sachs. Should I short Goldman Sachs again? I can't do it. I can't do it. AMD pulling back a little bit. Didn't get the full breakout, man. It has the potential for it now. You got the wick through. You went to the 151 and trying to reload some on the VWAP here. Still trying to add some here on the pullback. See the 15-minute chart? This is going to be a pretty good outlook, right? So at this point, right, we shouldn't see a break below this kind of like 150. That's going to be the risk right now, right? And so that's the one thing to keep in mind. Now, what we need to see is the 15-minute candle go and take out this high, 151.70. If it takes out that one, then you got the opening range kind of break to the upside there. Next layer from that, you get the 151.50s, and then you can start to climb back here towards 152.30s, and maybe even go towards 153 on a big push, right? And so that's kind of the outlook that I'm looking at right now, and that's why I'm staying in this, because the potential upside is actually for a nice big breakout here. Just got to hang on here. The $100 is not what I'm looking for. Vox trying to make another move off that 530. Is Vox a day one mover? That's another thing to look at, Steph. So I know that you're trading Vox, so I'm not trying to like make it a negative thing, but that's another thing. It's a day one move. I think day one moves are the hardest ones to trade because you really don't know where this has an established kind of move, right? Like GDS short for me is a little bit better because this has gone up like, 5 or 6 days and I'm starting to see the slowdown. Things like that is what I look for. AMD just doing what? Just chomping all around here, guys. Looking for a pullback ad here. Pullback ad. See if we get it. Holding in right now, guys. Q's still going higher, but not a big break. Take a look at the Q's here. Let's see what's up from the open. What's doing well? Booking.com. Straight up there, man. Charter Communication. Adobe doing pretty well there. ARM with a nice little push there. So ARM Holdings, nice little push. CrowdStrike up there. NVIDIA up. PanW making a nice little move to the upside. Let's see here. Netflix, strong there. Let's see what's the strongest in the last hour. Technology, real estate, communication services, and consumer cyclical. Cyclical names. Did Carvana get hit today? Not yet. AMD back, but man, doesn't want to make that next push here. ADXN was a good short, man. For a penny name, that still looks good. I love the VWAP rejection here off 12. What a move there if you were able to short that. I wasn't watching this one when it happened, but I talked about it when it started to cut down through here. The 1250 rejection looked good. It went back here and it went to like 12 on the 1 minute. You can see it here. Went to like 1230s. Yeah, 1238s, rejection, breakdown. Then back at VWAP, shorted. Back at VWAP, 1180s, goes to 1208. Boom, back down to 1080s. Not a bad trade there, guys. Q's just stair stepping, man. Just not really getting the big move though. ADXN, look at that. Now cutting down there towards the 1051s. Vox, there it goes. Now I can get after Vox. All right, just shorted some there, 200 shares there. Now I'm going to look for a bounce back towards 525s, 518s, 520s, somewhere in that range to add to a short for Vox. So now I get the cut down back belief below the 5. I need to get a move back to the 9 EMA, 507, 520s for the ads. So I'm going to put out here 520s in a second, but look at that drop already to the 480s. Not a bad looking short there. I might just only be able to get 100 shares, and that's okay because the idea is to start small and then size up as you get the continued breakdowns. That's the way I've been trading. That's the way I'm going to keep going after it, guys. Vox in the green. We'll see what happens on that one. Going back to AMD, got to focus on that. AMD just not wanting to do it today, guys. Qs are starting to slow down. That's a little bit of sign of concern here. I'm going to get that test towards the 150s, and I can't let it go through that 150s anymore. I have sized up enough there that if it goes through that 150s and cuts through, it could easily be like a $200, $300 loser, and I can't accept that. So you got to know the pain, and the pain trade here on AMD is not looking good here as we pull back to the 150. It's looking so good at that 151. But that's how AMD goes. It's going to the top and the bottom end of the range. Getting that cut down right now. We'll see what happens here, but definitely not looking good there. Vox is still looking good there. We'll see if that gets a bounce there for me to add. But AMD really giving me that pressured look right now. Could easily go back through the 149, 75s, 74s, and that's 160 risk there for me. Q's is hanging up at the top there. Vox can't even get above 5 now. Struggling there. I'm looking for the smallest pop above 5 to add. Man, this AMD is giving me gray hairs all day long, man. Just doesn't want to go. What time is the news? What time is the news? The news is important. What news? What news, man? I love reading the chat sometimes. Did I miss something? What time is the news? Right up. Coast down. Let's go.
I owe you a lunch, Mitch.
What you looking at, man?
I owe you a lunch.
Yeah, you owe me lunch? Come on, man.
Yeah.
I was already picking the spot.
All right, you got it.
You know how it goes, my friend. We'll see what happens. Where's Saunders at? Where is she at? Oh, 912, 912. Oh.
Yeah, man.
You know what I have? 940s, 946 topping
Yes,
action.
yes.
Let's see how that works today.
Exactly. Let's see.
And then the key, blow off top. Give me a high that looks like a wick. So like kind of like on the chart right now, if you looked at my screen, it's this wick. I want to see this wick show up. So break the high, give me a nice wick, and then just start working your way back here. So I would like to see it work back towards like 9 and close towards 9, but make an attempt to go to 950.
I see.
That's the idea there. And the real idea is not to short here on the green. Wait till you see the red. That's how I would do it on the swing. So like, let's say looking at like, let's say maybe the middle of the day, 2, 3 o'clock, then opening the position.
Yeah. But overall, this is not a good stock to day trade.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad either, right? It's not bad. I think the spread isn't the worst. It's 15 cents now. You know, it's also a name that doesn't have the biggest upside potential either, right? And that's why we're looking at it for the downside, because look in the fundamentals, there's not much there. This is just moving off of the turnaround of the recession look, Mustafa. Remember, everyone's thinking recession? Well, recession didn't come, so this jumped. If you look at Hilton, look how it's moving the same direction, right? So ever since that, it's done this. Look at Saunders, it's done that, right? It's just like that, guys. Sometimes we make it too hard. Marriott climbing back, right? Airbnb, that's the one that hasn't, with the warning. That's why I'm watching to see what happens in RCL. RCL's been climbing back since that recession concern came off. But all right, guys, AMD starting to go bigger in the green there. Vox rejecting there. So let's go look at Vox to see if we can add to Vox here. So still hasn't popped above that 5. I can go ahead and add to it, but it's going to be a tough one. I think this goes down to 4. So now that we're at the 480s here, I'll go ahead and I'll do one more add there. It's going to bring me to the 490s, right? There's the 494s, but I'll look to see if I can get a bounce into the 5s to add a little bit more. So shorting Vox, trying to knock it back down to 4. Nothing crazy, just trying to knock it back to the 4. This is the VWAP where buyers could step in. There's no reason why buyers don't need to step in there. All right, AMD, let's go to it. AMD towards 150 30s, 150 20s. Finally, we're going to get an opportunity to sell some here. All right, let's not get greedy here. I'm going to go ahead and I'll take, boom, just took some off there on AMD. I'll pay myself there. There's the breakout towards 150 30s. That's what I wanted to hang out in. And boy, oh boy, did I had to hang out to get that. So just took the first profit. At this point, I'm leaving the remainder 150 to just keep working here and go for the big break, which is above that 150, 150, going to 152. And I talked about it this morning. I talked about potential for me was a move to 156, 157. That's $5 away. Now it's time to let the market do the heavy lifting for me. As I talk about this sometimes, now it's hands off, not hands on. That's where a lot of traders get it twisted. Like when they start going deep in the green, they start getting too antsy. So for me, the best way to do that is now to just leave this alone, right? Even if it comes back to my entry, would I want to get red on this trade? No. So I've already made 80 bucks. I'm going to put it down to 150 just to not be stop hunted, which is $63 in the red. But even if that happened, for some reason, it just wiped out on me. I'm still in the green. This is when I feel like what I call a position of strength. I'm deep in the green in the entry, and now can let the trade just work. And I'll show you guys that I do it just like this, right? Here you guys see the chart. Here you guys see the patterns. Here you guys see the way that I'm taking it, right? Right there. There you guys have it. All right, let's go to Vox here. Let's see if Vox there now going down to the 470s. Looking good there, guys. I might take some profits towards the 460s here and just take the money and run. Could look for a bigger move towards 4. Could also just take some profits here. But hey, a nice little quick little $100 back towards the 446 doesn't look too bad here. Let's see if we can get a little cut down back into the 460s, 450s. Take the money and run. Biggest thing I want to keep my eyes on AMD. This is not a bad little gain. It's not a bad little gain there. And I like the way that I went about it. Waited for the red to really come towards 5 and then came after it. All right, not seeing that next expansion into the 60s. So that's what I'm looking for now. The next move is to the 60s and the 50s. So looking to see if I could get that move. And then I could take some profits. I could look for this to come back to 4. I'm probably just going to take it off towards the 450s. Take that money and run. Can't be mad about it. Let's see if we can get a quick little 135 and just take the money. You see that limit at the top there? I'm not looking for that limit to fill. It's just there for kind of purposes of just having some weight at the top there. But that's just to mention that. He is pulling back at there. The Q ripped. So definitely SOXL might have been even the better trade, right? Can't act like it wasn't. So we'll see what happens here. If we do get the cut down in Vox, looking for the cut down into the 60s. Still haven't seen it there. Come on. Oh, that's why. Come on, Mitch. Look at the level 2. Look at the level 2 here. What do you guys see? 465, 45,000 shares. Yeah, someone's trying to go ahead and buy this up, the guys, and try to short it there. So try to cover some there. The bid there at 465 is going to be important. You see that right there, 94,000 shares there. What's going to happen when we approach that? It's like a magnet. The price action gets magneted to that level. Now the question is, will they fill that 94,000 shares there? Let's find out, guys. It's going to be an interesting watch there. I'm taking off the target profit there because there's no point in having it on right now. Need to see what happens if it approaches that level. Do you see how it changes all of a sudden? There's like this algorithmic volume, and then there's that big level there at the 65s. Boom, it all falls off. They see that big order? That big order is just doing what we call spoofing right now. It's showing it on the order and then pulling it off. Showing it, pulling it off. Essentially illegal action, but no one checks this out, guys. So supposedly spoofing is illegal, but the truth is it happens every day. All right, what's up out there, guys? How we doing? How we doing, traders? You having a good time? Enjoying the day? All right, guys. In just about let's do 10 more minutes, and then we'll do a little bit of talk with Mustafa on complete system. We can talk a little bit about managing emotions for winning mindset. Let's talk a little bit about some trading psychology. We'll talk a little bit about some system talk. But here you guys see it. Can Vox make the move? I'm watching it right now. I'm watching it. AMD went to that 151, 30, 40, and I'm so glad I wasn't greedy because the price came right back to my entry, right? And so with that being said, if I wouldn't have taken the first profit, I wouldn't have that conviction and strength feeling right now. So we'll see if AMD really makes the big move. But like always, you got to get yourself and pay yourself sometimes when the money's there. Vox bouncing, doesn't want to go to that 460s right now. We could get back above 5, and that's always a concern here. So focusing on it. Might just cut this position here, guys. I'm going to cancel out that limit up here at 200 just in case we get a spike at 5 and then I get an instant fill. Wouldn't want to see that. Now that it's kind of floating here at the 480s, you got to be careful for an attempt move off the VWAP. So that's the big move there, is that Vox is right by the VWAP. So you could kind of recover that VWAP. What I'm looking for is a rejection from that VWAP. So right here, it can go maybe towards 497, but shouldn't get back above 5 now and should start the breakdown. We'll see what happens. Back through 5, you got to get out. All right, looking around, guys, trying to find a different trade now and trying to get after it here. I see CENX starting to go to the upside, so I'm going to keep a close eye on that. That's, of course, an aluminum play that I want to keep a watch on. That's actually going to the upside. The Qs are going to the upside there, so that makes me feel confident about the AMD trade. I could add to this Vox trade if it starts to cut down through the 470s. I'm going to actually set a stop here at the 505. If it comes in and hunts me, that's $33 on the red. I'm okay with that. I need to stop watching Vox. I need to go elsewhere and go looking to trade some more. Soxel, look at the trade on that, guys. Playbook on point on that one. Just didn't play it, right? Soxel, not a bad outlook. Looking for 36 recoveries. It recovered 36 really well, now towards 38 and going higher. So glad I talked about that on today's playbook. All right, guys, looking around, guys. AMD up a decent amount. Vox not really breaking down there. Looking around to see what else I can get into. CENX is another one that's making the move here to the 1560s. I like this one as the recovery move for yesterday's move, going now towards 16. So that's not a bad outlook as we start to hold the VWAP and start to recover that. So I kind of like that one. I just had to hold on pullbacks to 1550s. But it could be a scalp opportunity, right? And that's what I'm looking at it for right now. ALCOA is another one that I can look at in this space, right? ALCOA has been going up all day long. Now CENX is trying to get that up move. VWAP pullback is towards the 1545, so always got to keep that in mind. But this could go right back there towards the 1580s and 16s today. So that's the way I'm looking at it. We'll see what happens. All right, looking around, trying to find some good trades out there. Saunders is now up almost 20%. So Saunders now there towards 10, my friend, 1050.
Yep.
Look at that. Look at that. That's blow off top type right there. So give me that 1050s. Let's get $10 here. Let's go for the swing trade on Saunders to the downside, to the short side. On Saunders. I want to take the trade. I said, you know what? I'll make my own lunch here. Let's go. Let's see if I can get this back through 10. So back in the 10s is what I need to get short on. So I don't want to go really quickly in the 980s because then it goes to like 1020s, 1030s. And I'm like, Mitch, you just jumped really quickly. There's no point. So I'll put out here a feeler. So feeler 50 shares, right? Even if it does hit me, it's not much, but it's just, hey, can you give me a starter there above 10 towards like maybe 1020s? That looks like a blow off top though on the 5 minutes. So that's what I'm trying to like start to get after here. And the reason it does blow off tops too is that it's all about also kind of getting after it in the sense that what do? You squeeze out some shorts when you go to that 1050, right? And then you bring it down, right? And that's the hardest part of that action is getting through that first momentum push. That's why when shorters have a tendency, like let's say the big money shorters, like, you know, and just to mention a name, right? Like Tim Grutani, right? Like those big shorters, what do? They go really small and they're adding in at big key spots, looking for these blow off tops to add into. And then they're just looking for longer time frames to just keep slowly sizing up the position. And then when they really see the daily turn to red is when they go size in big, right? So it could even be, let's say, as small as size as 100 shares each time. They're building the position. Then when it finally goes into the green, that's when they throw the 10,000 shares. That's when they throw the 20,000 shares at it and really try to get after it, right? Build a position, then hammer the position. That's the way they look at it a lot of the times. Look at this thing. Now down to the 926. It's probably not even going to give me the entry. It's probably not even going to give me the entry, right? It said, you know what? Well, now you don't get it. Now you got to chase.
930, man. Unbelievable.
Now you got to chase. That's the way it is. So at this point, what do I look for? This is when you got to tell yourself, be patient, right? Chasing here at 930s is just a recipe for me to get stuck in the middle of the chart on the day. I hate getting stuck in the middle of the chart, right? So the middle of the chart, if you put a square on this and you put a line in the middle of the chart, where would it be? It'd be right around this area. Don't get stuck in the middle, guys. Stuck in the middle is where the pigs get slaughtered. So that's another thing to think about too, is that that's where pigs get slaughtered a lot of the times. So I look for a move above 10 here to then give me the trend line short to short off of. So trend line approach, right? Just draw it based on these two candles. They come back to this line, tap it, and then I can get short, right? So that's even closer towards 1030. So I'm going to put this up towards 1026 for my first entry. Leave it out there and see what happens. When it starts to hit, that's when I really want to get after it. GDS got up there to the 720s. I have another order to add at 1740s. Taking a bigger swing on this one. Voxy Vox. What do you want to do? Let's go back to the day trade side of things. All right, Voxy Vox just went towards the 470s, has gone up there to the 480s multiple times, can recuperate the VWAP at any moment here. Always keeping that in mind, right? So got to keep that in mind in the same way that I drew about it earlier. 1, bottoming action. 2, bottoming action. 3, this is the one that should break. So if we get back to the line, the support of 467, if we don't break that 467, I think we go back through 5. So that's the way I look at it here. I'm looking for the cut down through the 465s, 467s. If not, I'm going to take the money and run. AMD undercut my 150 40s and went down towards 150 30s and is now starting to come back. The way that I look at AMD now is that it should kind of take the highs and really break out. You see this 15-minute chart? This is the pattern. Shouldn't break the 9 EMA. It hit it already once. I see this now starting to hold that. In the 5 minutes, I should get a green candle to go through that 151. If not, I want out anyways. So AMD, got to go ahead and get ready to set a stop there. Just watching Vox and AMD now, guys. Vox here. Let's see what happens. Big price level here for Vox. Saunders trying to bounce, but nothing right now. Canceling out my stop right now in Vox. There's 470s. You see how that reversal there? That's not good outlook. That's the we want to come back to 5 outlook. So right now I'm not worried about it, but if it shows up 490s, you see right there, like 489 90s, it wants 5 right now. Question is, will it take 5 back? And if it does, what are we doing when it gets there? Always knowing that is very important. So right now, I'm ready to get out. Just looking at the chart. The chart's going to tell me. Same thing for AMD. AMD just chomping all around here, guys. There's 490s. Vox rejects. $488 showing back there. You got to be careful. It could be a squeeze through the 5. Another rejection of 490s. That's a good outlook there. Now I'm going to go ahead in a second here. When it gets to the 480s, I'm going to set a stop there at 499 and just let it work. Nice rejection there. Back into the 83s. The one that's really just pretty right now, ADXN. That penny stock, well, I'll call it a penny, small cap, was up there to the 13s, and it's just fading. Now back towards 10. That's one that you can make a big money on. I need to go after more of those shorts in the smaller cap names. All right, there's that attempt to go back through 5s there, guys. It hit 490s multiple times. I'm in at 494s. I'm giving it a couple pennies towards 499. But even if it hits 499, I don't want to be in there because that gives it the potential to all of a sudden just squeeze in one candle your 525s, 540s. So at this point, it should just break down through the low. If it doesn't, I want out anyways, right? So 493s right there rejects. Good rejection. I could actually hammer down and add right now, then hold break even. But I'm looking for the big, kind of the bigger move. Just give me that real breakdown here. And that's why I'm holding towards 300 shares. Instead of just a scalp shares, size up, go for the 450 move here. AMD back to 150.70 looks good there. So AMD back to 150.70 looks interesting for me at this point. Now I need to see this start to rip, right? I talked about the next 5 minutes. So right there, it's about to be 30 seconds for this 15-minute candle to close. You see how it just ticked green? That's what I wanted to see. It was red the whole time in the 15 minutes. In the last 1 minute here, it's going to go green. And that's kind of a swing of momentum that you can look for. Is that a head and shoulders that you see on Vox? I'll take a look at that. I would call it maybe a head and shoulders top, right? Off that 5, right? Nice rejection now towards the 460s. Looking good there in Vox to break that 462. Big order, right? Remember that was at 462? It's not even there right now. Let's see if it shows up. Let's see if it shows up. It was at 462 last time. You see 465 starting to show up some sizing there. Now we're towards 463s there on that. AMD pulling back a little bit there. Vox almost breaking through there. So I'm about to look at it now. See if we can get this nice little move back towards the 440s here. You can see how this is breaking down. You do see the head and shoulders there. I don't like head and shoulders too much for a kind of a 1 minute pattern. It's not the strongest pattern, but it's there. You're 1000% right, Tony. 470 is recovering a little bit. AMD not trying to give it there. All right, guys, now moving the stop loss closer towards the break even. Now I don't want to lose on Vox, but I want to give myself the potential to make the, let's say, the $200 and call it a day, right? And so at this point, there's two options, right? It's take the money, run here for 70, then go to 150 up on the day, or just say, at this point, I won't lose, so I don't have to stress too much, but I'm looking for the bigger win. I'm looking for the $200 win right here on Vox, and that could easily happen. Give me that nice move back down to the 50s, and we're looking gravy here. So let's see if we can do this. Just gonna go ahead in a second here. If I can get this candle to go red on the one, I'll go and I'll drop the stop loss break even. Q's pulling back, guys. That's one thing that I'm gonna be a little bit careful on AMD. Yeah, AMD is not wanting to do it right now. It's probably going to cut me out on this pullback here. One that is making a nice little move there that will be interesting to watch, and I'm about to get cut in AMD, just to let you guys know. I like to give you guys a heads up, but just about to get cut out there in AMD. I'm like slightly below it, so could get stop hunted any moment here. 50-25s. There it goes. Boom. I could see it coming, guys. Could see it coming there. There's the washout attempt now. The Qs are going lower here, and I could see it go back to VWAP here. So that's where you got to be careful. We could start seeing a little bit of a turn, and that turn could actually help me in Vox, not actually hurt me. It's downside action. So let's see if we start to see downside action come in. Saunders got up there back towards $10, rejected that 10, still hasn't gone back to that level. I'll keep watching it here for a pop towards 10 because I don't mind shorting Saunders on the long term. But you guys see it there. CENX that I was looking at for the move towards 1570s, 1580s really was the move towards the 16 for a scalp opportunity. It's starting to move. We'll see what happens with that. Pod. Medical care device stock doing pretty well today. PODD. SLNO, $50 stock doing pretty well. Not seeing many of the smaller cap names. You see today, they're all on the struggle there. MRM, one that I'd keep an eye out for, was moving yesterday, but just kind of slow, not really getting the volume. There's not much volume out there in the smaller names. All right, guys, only got, what, $60 today for working really hard. That's how it can go in trading, guys. And I think that that's what we need to sometimes be able to accept, right? But it's 11:49 here. We're going to start talking a little bit of some psychology, take a little bit of a moment away from my trading. There's AMD on that big pullback. Could still go back to the upside, but it's gone too long. I've been in this trade for how long, guys, right? And so you get to a point where the ticking time bomb goes off. I take my money, and then we'll see if we get the bigger move. Vox, same thing, same outlook here. We'll see if it starts to make the bigger move, starts to really cut down here. It's a big watch right now as you're trying to cut down through the 70s, and there's a recovery. There's the cutout there. It's looking like it wants to come right back. I still got the stop out on the break even, the 94s, so I'm not going to touch it here. If it hits me, it hits me, and it breaks me out, break even. Could take the $30 and run, but that's not much, man. That's not the 10-cent rule. So that's another thing. It was just pushing past that 10-cent rule. I'm looking for a little bit more here. If it comes to me, I'll be out. All right, guys, we'll take a little moment here. We'll talk a little bit about some trading psychology action out there. So you guys out there, smash the like. Let's get to some of the conversation. And then, of course, I'm going to kick it to Mustafa here to wrap it up in just a second. I'll let him finish up some of his trading here. But like always, guys, smash the like if you guys enjoy this action. We're going to talk a little bit about some psychology. Yeah, we're talking trading psychology here today. Talking a little bit about managing emotions for a winning mindset. And I think this is so important to kind of work on, guys. So when you're developing a kind of a winning mindset, right? It's all about having the mentality of a long-term trading success. This is why we talk about complete systems. This is why Mustafa is going to talk about it coming up. And sticking to your trading plan, even when it's tempting to deviate, is so easy, right? Another thing that's very hard for traders is having patience, right? Waiting for the right setups instead of forcing the trades, which happens way too often. And why? Because the emotions start to drive you, right? You have to have resiliency also if you're going to have a winning mindset, right? You got to be able to bounce back with the losses without letting them affect your future decisions, right? Very easily, we can take a big hit, and then after that, we can start being too scared about risking money. And the next thing you know, you win on the second trade, but it doesn't cover the first trade because you got scared. And now you're not willing to actually risk the amount that you were risking on that prior trade. And you're not being able to actually get what in your favor? The mathematical advantage. At the end of the day, we're all looking to get mathematical advantage somewhere, right? And there you guys see it. Vox back to 5, back to 497. And so the head and shoulders outlook could actually finish the head and shoulders here towards 5 and then come down. But I'll tell you what, I don't want to be in there for a 540 pop. And next thing you know, I'm looking back at it like, man, there's just no need. There's no need. Could have maybe taken $70, $80 there. That was potentially there. But of course, my wins have been closer towards 200 and 300. So wasn't going to touch that. But back to the developing the winning mindset. Like always, guys, setting daily routines, visualization techniques, and positive affirmations are definitely ways that you guys can keep reinforcing the idea of that winning mindset. And I talk about this often. The winning mindset is kind of like what we were talking about at the gates, right? How I mentioned there. I said what? I said, guys, think about it this way, right? Some days are going to be red days. And you got to be able to be willing to accept that. That's part of the winning mindset, believe it or not. Because the winning mindset says, hey, I did risk and return. I set up nice setups. And if I just keep playing that, I'll get back to the green. But if I start to deviate from that and start to change my risk and reward, start to change my system as I'm trading it, that's not the winning mindset. That's not going to keep us in the mentality that we're ready to bounce back and have that resiliency. Now, of course, if you're noticing you're just blowing out proportion of your risk, that's something always to think about. But if we can keep it to the system, that's what's going to help us. Managing the emotions is going to help us also. So not trying to get too high on any one win, not trying to get too greedy on any one win also, right? Overconfidence is an easy way to get wrecked. But you got to have confidence too, right? That's what we're here for. A lot of the times trading is about this distinguishing what are your plays first, right? And then developing the skills to get after those plays. So essentially building up decision-making skills and then actually trading and building up those execution skills. And then what did both of those things give you? They give you confidence in your ability. That's what you're looking for. You just want confidence that I know how to play this game. And that if you put me in this game, right, the market, because I'm going to call it a game because it is. If you put me in this game today, tomorrow, or a week from now, I'm going to go at it the same way with a winning mindset, with a control of my emotions, and a complete systematic approach. Right there. Gold, guys, gold. I'm telling you, this is the only way that traders survive. They realize at the end of the day, they're nothing special. I'm not special. The truth is, Mustafa, we're not special.
Not at all.
We're just trying to be the trader that's taking it to the professional level, right? Not just I want to gamble here, maybe make one YOLO trade and get the hell out of here. No, I want to be the type of person that you could put me 20 years from now in the market and I can go trade it no matter what. And that's what we need to develop. The biggest and most important is what Mustafa is going to talk about. And I'm going to clear the floor here for him. Let's talk about complete systematic trading. So let me know what you've been thinking about, Mustafa. Tell us all, right? Because Because I think it's very important.
About the confidence thing, you mentioned confidence. It doesn't come from affirmations. It comes from your proof. There's a guy that I follow on YouTube. His name is Alex Hormozi. And he's not in the trading space. He's an entrepreneur doing something else. But he said something really interesting like a month ago. He said, you don't become confident by shouting affirmations in the mirror, but by having a stack of undeniable proof you are who you said you are. So you got to outwork your self-doubt. So confidence doesn't come from affirmations. It has to come from the proof that, like, you gotta have proof that you're on the right track. There is nothing wrong with belief or visualization, but you gotta be careful because there's a fine line you have to walk between your goals and being delusional. Okay, so you gotta build that proof first. And when it comes to the complete system, I think that ever since I came on the show the first time, I've been thinking about this one question kind of stuck in my mind, which is what makes the difference in traders who are consistent and profitable versus the ones who are kind of struggling and trying to find that consistency. And I think that most of the traders do not have what I call a complete trading system. Okay, so like you know as much as I do that the success rate is very low. Like it's an extremely competitive arena here. Like 95% of the traders fail, right? So you've got about 5% of the people who make money consistently. So you have to make your life's mission to be at the top 5%. And the goal is not just to be at the top 5%. Once you get there, you have to stay there. So, but the question that might pop in mind is, what does it take to become the 5%? And that's the wrong question, because you got to ask this question instead. Who do I become to be at the top 5%? Because this is a journey. Okay, and it's all about self-discovery and self-revelation. So you think 100%. That the answer is going to come from the next book you're going to buy, or the next strategy you're going to master, or the next candle formation you're going to master.
I can't just go buy the answer? I can't buy the answer, Mustafa?
You got to look inwards. So you have to become the person, technically.
100%.
So, and then, the way I look at it is like an entire trading system. And this system has 3 core pillars. Okay, the first one is what I call the edge. You gotta have an edge. If you don't have an edge in this game, you don't have a shot. And that edge, Mitch, has to be so unique to you. So that's why you cannot copy someone else's edge, or you cannot have some guru or experienced trader teach you this edge.
100%.
Just like how unique you are as a person. 8 billion people, there is only one you, right? There is, with the same fingerprint and the same DNA, there is not a single person just like you out there. So your edge has to be the same. When they ask you, so what is it that you do differently, like in your strategy, in your edge that differentiates you from the rest of the traders? And you should be able to answer this question by building this edge. You got to build it on your own. You cannot copy. So you gotta have this. That's the first pillar. The second pillar is risk management. No matter how good your edge is, if you don't have proper risk management, you won't have a shot, because you're probably gonna make gains, and then in a couple of bad trades, you will be wiped out again because you're managing risk poorly. And here's the good news about the traders who are on the platform, Trade the Pool. You guys have this management system put in place. There's a maximum daily loss. There is a reason for this. And the reason is to protect the trader, because this is actually very hard to pull off. I believe, here's the thing though, our brains are not suited for trading because it's not part of our evolution as human beings. We've been around walking planet Earth in the last 50,000 years, but trading has been around only in the last 232 years. The New York Stock Exchange opened first time in the late 1700s. In fact, it opened in May 1792. So we've been trading. Compared to our evolution as human beings, it's very short. So this brain that we have between our ears is not suitable. You have to reprogram it. You have to actually design it and make it suitable for trading. This is why risk management is hard, because sometimes you have to be so disciplined about putting the stop limit loss order for every single trade. Now, if you're using the platform that Trade the Pool has designed, okay, then this is taken care of because there's a maximum daily loss for each account. And this is to, like I said, this is to put in the system to prevent you from revenge trading. Because when you take a loss, you know, the caveman brain immediately goes into the, okay, I gotta get back to break even. And then immediately you're gonna start taking trades that you're gonna size up way bigger, and then you're gonna do things that you're gonna actually not care about the stop loss limit. You're gonna let that trade run, and it's just gonna spiral out of control. The next thing you know, you're just getting deeper and deeper in the red. So if you don't have this platform, you're gonna call your brokerage firm today and have them arrange this for you. Like, you're gonna have this in the system. Maximum daily loss, the best thing to do is have the firm do it for you. So that's the second pillar. So the first one is the edge. The second is the risk management. The third pillar that you must have in your system is what I call personality traits. And there is 6 of them. And then notice I didn't say personality type traits, because each is very different. And there is no certain personality that actually is more suitable for trading, you know? Because
100%.
Let me give you an example. Let's take a guy, 2 guys who never traded before, and we're going to put them through training for 3 months. Okay. First guy is a high school dropout. Second guy is a PhD in mathematics out of Cambridge University in the UK. 0 experience in trading. You put them through training. You cannot guarantee me that at the end of the trading, when we give them the live account to trade, that the PhD guy is going to make more money. You cannot guarantee that. It is possible that the high school dropout might be more profitable, which tells you about the nature of this whole business, right? Because the stock market doesn't care about your background, your educational background, your financial background, doesn't care about your ethnicity, which country you're from, color of your skin, none of that. What it cares is how good your system is. Because if you have a system in place that's based on principles, you will eventually be rewarded. So the third pillar of the system, in my opinion, is what I call the personality traits. And the first one is self-discipline. You will never meet a successful trader that doesn't have self-discipline. Not only in his trading, but also in his life in general. Like when you meet a trader, they say the top 5%. Very quickly, you're going to notice how disciplined this person is, because you're going to notice that he's probably the type of person that actually goes to bed at the same time, gets up at the same time. He has routines that he has built for his life, and that he probably eats very healthy, clean diet. He probably takes care of his body through daily exercise, and he stays away from all addictions like alcohol, cigarette smoking, and gambling. And he lives a very simple life, very disciplined life. So you're going to notice this right away. So because it's going to spill over to your trading. So 100%. If you lack discipline in one area of your life, it's very likely that you're going to lack discipline in your trading. So you got to tackle this issue. That's the first trait. The second is patience. Like, without patience, you will be jumping into trades impulsively. You will be over trading. You will be, as a result of over trading, you're going to start revenge trading. And the next thing you know, you're getting deeper and deeper in the red. If you like patience, you don't wait for the right setup to show. Sometimes, especially in slow markets, it takes hours. If you have the patience to sit there without taking any trade patiently, you will eventually be rewarded, you know? Because I kind of like think of the traders think of a hunter in the African savannah. This hunter out there in Serengeti with a gun in his hand, he's hiding behind a tree. He wants to kill a deer, right? And he's gonna wait for the herd to pass. But he needs to sit behind the tree patiently and wait. He knows the herd is gonna pass eventually. He just doesn't know when. So we are kind of like that hunter mentality. We are hiding behind the tree with a gun in our hand and waiting for the right opportunity. Exactly. And we are waiting for the right opportunity to present itself so that we can pull the trigger. And trading is very similar.
Mustafa, I could literally listen to you all day, my friend. That's what I love to hear it, man. I love to hear it, man, because the truth is, there's one thing that I really love, guys, and you guys have known. You guys can probably tell how long I've been doing this too, right? It's not that I've been doing it for 1 year. I've been going at this for like close to now 8 years, right? Nice. And so with that being said, I love when I find traders like Mustafa that are really trying to figure this game out, right? Because the truth is what you said was important. It's self-discovery. A lot of it is, guys. If you could truly understand who you are as a person, you probably might be able to work out who you are and how to best trade with that person, right? Because that's the truth, right? It's like not only the strategy, but how are you going to trade a strategy is so important. And that's the only way to know that is really the results, right? You see the numbers and then you see what strategies work for you, right? That's why it's important to look at your statistical data. That's why I talked about how last week I lost on more trades than I won, but I made $1,000, right? And so things like this, the mentality, you need to understand that, right? What got me through the losses? The winning mindset, right? Understanding that I was keeping the risk to return, that if just one of these trades got in a nice little green position, it was going to cover 3 or 4 of them. And I don't have to worry so much about that. Hey, I've had 3 or 4 losses, 1 win, and those trades are washed out, right? So mathematical advantage, keeping edge, so important. Then moving towards your systematic approach, right? How do I approach it? Another thing is thinking about it in weekly risk has been helping me, because I think that a lot of traders are doing this daily risk. And I've been there. I've done both. I can tell you that even from professional traders, they tell me also daily risk they're not beneficial to your mentality, because it puts too much pressure on what today is. It puts it in a box. Like today I need to be green. No. Just for the week, I need to have 3 or 2 green days, and I'm green, baby. It doesn't need to be this battle of, I need to be green today in a box. No, get out of that box, man. Realize that you will have red days. Take them like a man. Take them like a woman, whatever you want to say it, but take them. And be willing to admit, hey, today wasn't the day. So what? I'll just keep going, right? Like right now, I'll give you guys the wrap up for it right now. Wrap up for me today. And I've been doing this often, right? Like yesterday it was GDS and it was another trade. It was the VIXI trade, right? And those trades went well. And then I left GDS just to work to see what would happen, right? In this case, I'm looking at AMD, right? I've already taken $57 from it. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm just going to put those $57 to risk here and put that trade out there. See if I end up in the green. The worst thing that happens today, it's a break-even day. Is that a bad thing? No. I had a 100+ day yesterday, about 150. Could try to get to the 300, the 400 win, right? Didn't get it. Now setting the 57 risk, right? You guys see it? Set it, forget it. $57 is what I made. At worst, I end up at 0 today. And do I think of it in a negative? No, this is a complete positive day. Well managed on the risk, well managed on the reward side. Took that pop. Look where I took the profits, guys. I took profits at 151.30s. It went to 151.34. So I missed the top by 4 cents, right? That tells me more and more. That was a really good profit take there. I didn't get greedy. I took the money, and now I'm looking for the bigger move. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. You just keep going, and you come in tomorrow, wash it, rinse, repeat it, baby. That's what it's all about here, guys. So we're going to keep getting after it. Mustafa, I can't thank you enough from my side of things for you joining in today, talking about your trading, talking about how your mentality's evolving, really. And that's an important thing. That's what I'll tell you, man. It's definitely evolving. Keep getting after it. Keep telling yourself that discipline is only made through action. So keep thinking that. Discipline is only made through action. It's not about thinking about it. It's about actually doing it. Because thinking about the risk doesn't do anything, man. Focus on it, man. Realize that at the end of the day, it's about repeated actions, and then you can say you're disciplined. That's why I always think it's funny when I see a new trader and he's like, I'm a disciplined trader. I don't know what you're talking about, dude. What are you talking about, discipline? What are you going to put me in the corner? No, it's not that type of discipline, traders. It's about focusing on your own skills and what you focus on and what you are going to align by. Golden rules, Mustafa, right? Exactly. What are we going to live by? And if we can't live by that, then guess what? You can't even abide your own abilities. You can't abide your own decision making. You ain't going to make it as a trader. Head to the door. Forget it. Give me the money. Why don't you? truth is, that's how hard this game is. But we're never going to tell you that it's easy here. I took some extra time today. You guys see it. It's 11:10. The big thing, all this right here, rewind this, listen to this. For those traders that really want to go to the next level, listen to this conversation. This goes in a circle, and a lot of traders will talk about this. The big thing is, can you grasp it and get to that next level? I wish you the best, Mustafa. I wish you the best, everyone out there. Keep pushing on your levels. Test yourself. Create the habits that can get you to that success. You mentioned it, a routine. These traders are successful. They have routines, habits that make you better. That's what I've been trying to do also, to improve on habits. One habit a week. Don't make it hard on yourself. Don't say I need to change 5 habits. It's not going to work. One habit. What's one habit, and work on it this week. Really work on it every single day. Tell myself, I'm working on this habit. I'm working on this habit. Watch how that habit starts to become a strength. And then you can really start to see a linear progression in your learning for trading. That's it for us today, guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed that stuff. Stuff like this can really take you to the next level, and really listen to this. Jay Angelo mentioning it in the chat. Spot on commentary. This is huge and extremely valuable. Thank you both. Hey, I'll tell you guys we're going to battle. I know Mustafa and I will always keep battling to learn this. And I hope that you guys out there can always reach out to us. Reach out to us in the chat. Mustafa's always out there. You guys can reach out to him. You can reach out to me, and we're going to keep battling. Like Wisdom says, have a blessed day. Take care, everybody, and keep battling. We know the game ain't easy, but we'll keep battling along with you guys. See you next time.